Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Marhaba, welcome everyone to Campaign's Saudi briefing event on media and marketing. I'm Nadeem Qureshi, the publisher at Campaign Middle East, and thank you all for attending our second Saudi briefing event for this year and making all our campaign events successful like this one. It's a packed house, and thank you everyone for coming. Before we get on with today's event, I wanted to brief everyone on the latest developments at Campaign Middle East and all our partners. Even though we have formally introduced to everyone in our last campaign event in Dubai, I would like to reintroduce to all our audience here our new Campaign Middle East editor, Anup Omen, who has joined us this summer. Yeah. A former Reuters and Arabian business journalist, Anup brings more than 15 years of experience across reporting in print, digital, and new media. He'll join me on the stage shortly and will also take the event ahead in just a bit. On your tables, you'll find the recently published Campaign Middle East issue on e-commerce and digital transformation, along with the production guide. You'll also find the Powerless supplement, where we have profiled the most powerful men and women in the region's media, marketing, and advertising industry, along with their essays comprising of insights and predictions for business trends every year. We have a strong list of entries from Saudi this year as well. Our next couple of editions this year will focus on key topics like out-of-home, the region's top marketing game changers, sustainability, ethical marketing, digital essays, and finally the annual roundup issue in December. Please get in touch with our editorial and commercial team if you want to get involved. As you're also aware, the second editions of Athar Festival, Saudi's media place for creative marketing community, where Saudi creativity belongs, will take place on 5th and 6th of November in Riyadh. The festival will host global and regional speakers, as you can see on your tables. And this year, apart from the content sessions across 2 stages and 2 days, the Athar Festival is giving delegate access to multiple networking zones, master classes, access to the official festival app, networking lunch on both days, welcome reception on day 1, and festival bags that will include a smart networking card with tap to network feature to enhance your festival experience. Let's take a look at Athar 2024 this year. Student passes are sold out already, and the early bird tickets are also over. As a special gesture to attendees today, the Athar team has extended the early bird pricing on any passes purchased by you until midnight today. You can use the code on the screens behind me and also on your tables to avail a $100 discount of festival passes only for today. If you'd like to find out more from the various other initiatives at Athar, please feel free to reach out to me or Ghassan, there he is, or visit atharfestival.com. Anyone who's going to ask me for a discount later, this is the best chance for you to get this code and get discounts on. Coming back to our campaign event, we would like to thank all the partners for supporting us on our event today. Our gold sponsors are Ad Scholars, Fusion 5, MBC Media Solutions, Pixis, Publicis Group, and TikTok. You will hear more of them as the day progresses. Our associate sponsors today are Media 24/7, and they also have an activation outside. And here's a short video about them. Our associate sponsor for today is also SeatTag, and we have a short video about them too. Here's a small video about SeatTag. We also have prizes given at the end of the event by our generous sponsors, Pixis and Vamp. To take part, all you need to do is scan the codes on the tabletops on your tables, and a random winners would be selected at the end of the event. You stand to win a PlayStation 5 from Pixis and an Apple Watch SE from Vamp. So scan those codes on your tables to win these prizes. Please also note that we have a networking lunch at the end brought to you by our sponsors. So there's a lot to win, and make sure you're there till the end. Coming back to campaign, we're also planning to host the 3rd edition of Campaign Middle East Agency of the Year Awards on 12th December at Dubai's Western Mina Al CI. As you're aware, the Agency of the Year Awards focuses on the agency business success, that is year-on-year growth, financial achievements, agency culture, diversity, and the people and teams driving this forward. Here's a short video about the success we had for Agency of the Year last year. We have closed the entries last week for Agency of the Year, and we have received a record entries for all the categories, including the best agency in Saudi this year. So we hope to see most of you back in December for these awards. For more information, please feel free to reach out to Tarun for all the event partnerships and inquiries with campaign. We should have these opportunities and a lot more details on our website, social media platforms, and weekly newsletters. So please don't forget to subscribe to us and follow us in order to get the latest news and updates on all our future events, awards, podcasts, our upcoming directories, and our special print and digital editions of Campaign Middle East. Please also send your valuable feedback on the content that you hear today by scanning the QR codes on the agenda paper in front of you so that we can work with our partners for more stronger and relevant content. Right, that's it from me. I will hand the stage now to Campaigns Editor Anup Omen, who will take the event forward. Thank you everyone for attending, and I look forward to seeing you all at the Athar Festival next month. And over to you, Anup. And as Anup is slowly walking up, we have a showreel video to play for our sister brand, What's On Saudi Arabia.
Do you remember?
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Nadeem. Very good morning to all of you, and our very best regards to all of you, our extended campaign Middle East family. On behalf of this incredible publication, it's my honor and privilege to welcome each of you, your excellencies, our speakers, moderators, panelists, colleagues, and partners to this, the 2024 iteration of the campaign Saudi Briefing, Media and Marketing. I'm Anup Umin, the editor of Campaign Middle East, and it's a joy to host all of you here this morning for a nice time of networking, collaborating, engaging with ideas, learning, and brainstorming together. I've enjoyed conversations with a lot of you over the past few weeks and months. I enjoyed talking to a couple of you this morning, and I look forward to a lot of such conversations in the months to come. As one of the leaders told me this morning, we are witnessing change. We are seeing the winds of change within the media and marketing industry around the Middle East and in Saudi Arabia. And if I can take this opportunity to quote him verbatim, I've written this down for some reason. He said that we're on the brink of a marketing revolution here in the Middle East, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is leading that charge. Conversations that people have had with us are largely revolving around genuinely and authentically building brands within the kingdom to create real value for Saudi nationals, residents, as well as visitors from around the world who want to truly experience the best of media, music, sports, entertainment, while still rediscovering the natural beauty of this nation and breathing in its tradition, heritage, and culture. In order to do this, brands and marketing leaders have begun talking to us about the need to marry the best of technology, such as generative AI, which we'll get into later in this discussion, and creativity and creative effectiveness, but also to ensure that customers are not forgotten, that we keep hyper-localization, personalization, and add the right amount of humor, the right type of humor into our communications and brand campaigns. We've spoken about this ad nauseum. Smartphone penetration is at an all-time high, internet penetration is at an all-time high, and we're already seeing a massive boom in digital marketing. Simultaneously, we've seen e-commerce growth, social media growth within the kingdom grow, which has led to a lot of short-form video content, influencer collaborations, and very creative storytelling to build top-of-the-funnel brand awareness, mid-funnel brand consideration, bottom-of-the-funnel brand conversions through loyal communities. Saudi Arabia's young workforce, who are not only the leaders of today, but the leaders of tomorrow, are leading discussions on the latest media trends, whether it's in terms of connected TV and streaming, or in terms of social media, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, and the rest. These social media savvy Saudi nationals and residents are also driving conversations on a lot of trendy, interactive, immersive, and experiential marketing strategies. When you add to the mix an incredible impact on sports, football, Formula One, tennis, and golf, an incredible impact of entertainment, music festivals, theme parks, and giga projects, and the incredible impact of tourism, which again we're going to hear about later today, we're seeing a lot of growth within brand building, sponsorships, collaborations, strategic partnerships, naming rights, IPs and intellectual properties, merchandising, as well as media and broadcast tie-ups. Let's pause for a second. What does that mean? Does that mean life is going to get easier? For consumers, maybe. For the CMOs, definitely no, right? Because the job of the CMO, the heads of brands and marketing, are not getting easier. Very real questions are being asked about what will the future look like in a hybrid cookie world, where you have opt-ins and opt-outs. How can we make the most of our current first-party data that we need to lean into before we lean into LLMs, and AIs for personalization and data-driven insights? How can we create campaigns, above all, that are actually impactful and driving positive change in value in a world that is so volatile, where we don't want to lift up our phones, where we don't want to scroll because we're going to be scared about what we're going to see when we do so? How can we transform brands and businesses to be a force for good that goes beyond revenues, that goes beyond performance marketing, to actually solve problems for society and add value to people in this world? This also means that some challenges are probably here to stay for a bit. These challenges, whether it's budgets, tight deadlines, procurement, skills gaps, creative effectiveness, will keep dominating conversations for the months to come. So if you have an opinion on any of these, I'd love to hear from you. Brands and clients have asked me over the past few months, how can we acquire new customers? What can we do to guarantee brand loyalty? How can we retain the current customers that we have? These are very, very real conversations that go beyond the broad painting of general conversations around AI. That's why we're here. We're here today to learn from each other, understand how the top industry leaders are making it work. We're here to hear their open and honest opinions. And we are here to figure out what the top takeaways are that we can go back and implement in our day-to-day lives. I'm excited about this event and the conversations that we're going to have, and I hope that you are too. Thank you once again, and welcome to the Saudi Breakfast Briefing 2024. Before we begin, however, Nadeem already mentioned this, there are a few competitions worth talking about because we have excellent partners, Pixis and Vamp, who have partnered with us to give away a free PS5 and an Apple Watch. For those of you who aren't sure how to win these, there are little QR codes on your tables. All you need to do is pick up your phone, open your camera app, scan the QR code, and do the needful, and you might win a PS5. Now, for those of you who already have a PS5, I have an Apple Watch. I don't have a PS5, right? So if you win the PS5 and you don't want it, feel free to send it my way, or to gift it to friends or to family. So whether you have one or not, please partake in this because it's a great gift to give to someone else, right? Now, without further ado, shall we dive straight into it? We have a short video of Pixis to play, which we're going to play now. And then we're going to welcome on stage our first keynote speaker of the day, Neil Pandya, the CEO for EMEA and APAC, and Global Partnerships Head at Pixis, who will take us on a journey that I've been told on how to use AI to transform digital marketing performance.
Hello from Pixis, a purpose-built codeless AI infrastructure for growth marketers with targeting, creative, and performance capabilities. Our AI enables businesses to elevate their marketing efficiency, unlocking a minimum of 10 to 15% uplift in key performance metrics. So what makes Pixis the preferred AI suite for so many brands? That's easy. Pixis fits into your tech stack easily, enabling immediate implementation and activation. Our powerful cross-platform features allow continuous monitoring and optimization from a single dashboard. Our robust generative AI suite that enables rapid creation of ad variants customized to each AI-powered audience cohort. And always-on AI learns from all your data points to ensure the best results delivered within 6 weeks. Ready to augment your team's potential with AI? Schedule a demo now.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Awesome. I started with Nadeem 4 years back on campaign breakfast mornings. It was 1/5 of this room and one sponsor. and Nadeem spoke only for 30 seconds. From there to today, there are 10 sponsors and the entire room is full. So congratulations, Nadeem and team, for making this from breakfast morning to this. Also participate in Athar. Sometimes I forget that I'm part of campaign Middle East or Pixis, but guys, there is an Athar festival which Nadeem is hosting on 4th, 5th, 6th. I'm not a sponsor, I'm speaking there, but do participate in that. Having said that, jokes apart, guys, I'm Neil, I'm the CEO of Pixis. What I'm going to do today is the least selling Pixis on the board. I'm here today to walk you through how artificial intelligence can help you to transform your digital marketing needs as a marketer, as an agency stakeholder, or as a platform guy as well. I don't know about everyone, but I'm a little old-fashioned. I don't look so old, but I still get up in the morning and watch 30 minutes of a news. I have something after this which I'm going to show to you, which I saw 5 days back in CNN, which set the context about what everything Nadeem and Anup spoke some time back about the region. Just to set the context, guys, if you see the screen, there is a $320 billion of AI industry into this region itself. And out of that, 42% contribution comes from the kingdom as well, followed by UAE. So the context is set. This is the marketing hub globally. Not only AI and digital marketing, overall artificial intelligence is growing significantly high in this region. So when I speak about the 30-second video which I saw, that will speak more about it. So let's watch a CNN video which talks about this region.
From large language models to automated logistics and beyond, the region's tech revolution seems to be impacting every sector. And here in Saudi Arabia, the shift is clear. Back in March, the New York Times reported that Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund has been in talks with venture capital giant Andreessen Horowitz to launch a $40 billion AI fund that would fuel innovation in Saudi Arabia and transform its post-oil economy. PwC estimates that at the international level, AI could boost the global economy by $15.7 trillion by 2030. That's more than China and India's current output combined. And here in Saudi Arabia, the kingdom is putting AI at the heart of its post-oil strategy, aiming for massive gains. By 2030, this innovative technology could add over $135 billion to the kingdom's economy. That's equivalent to about 12.4% of its GDP.
Just setting context till now, artificial intelligence overall. Now let me come to the context about AI specifically in digital marketing. To do that context, I really want to give an idea about how digital marketing spends are growing in this region. If you see, Middle East is the fastest growing region globally into digital marketing. So it's at almost growing 13.6%. Within Middle East, obviously, Kingdom is the one who is leading the entire additional digital spends, which is growing. So just setting the context on that. If you don't like anything I spoke till now, and if you don't like anything after this, which I'm going to speak, at least listen to me for the next 10 minutes for the PS5. So if you have not yet scanned the QR codes on the table, you have a chance to scan it right now on the screen as well, and we're going to declare that. So guys, participate. That's a giveaway. Let me now come to the point about, so my first half of the presentation, I'm going to speak about breaking some myths about AI, how AI in general is helping digital marketers. And then the second half, I'm going to speak about innovations in AI. Let's talk about the myths. I speak to almost hundreds of marketers on a monthly basis. These are the top 4 myths which come to me from every marketer. The biggest myth is that AI is going to replace human jobs. The answer to that is a big fat no. Let's take in a comparison of AI with internet revolution. So when internet revolution was there 2-3 decades back, everyone thought that it's going to replace jobs of everyone. Nothing happened. But the only thing which I say to everyone who asks me this question is that someone with an artificial intelligence experience will have a better edge than someone who do not have an AI experience. So participate into the revolution. It's not going to take away the jobs at all. Second thing it comes is that AI has a price tag. Obviously, when you buy internet at home, you pay internet for it, but you know that there is some added value to it, which is bringing into ROI. So if you look at artificial intelligence pricing, in isolation that I'm going to pay 10%, 4%, 5% extra on my media marketing, definitely it will be there. But you look at that, how much it's going to bring ROI to it, it is self-funding the additional spends which you're going to do it. So it has a price tag, but it has more ROI, more business, which self-funds to it itself as well. It's time consuming. Again, internet comparison, you get the guy who comes into your home, it takes Wi-Fi, router, all of that thing will take 48 hours. We claim to do that in 30 minutes. So it is not time consuming at all. And the last myth which I come across is it's a dark black box. Yes, internet to some extent is a dark black box, but artificial intelligence used in the right way is 100% transparent, privacy compliant as well. So if you have some myths like this, guys, this is not to worry at all. Let me speak. So this room is full of marketers, digital planners, agency folks. I have identified the top 4 challenges you guys see as on your day-to-day activities. So one of the biggest first challenge we see that, the current scenario without AI is that, Neil, Anoop's, Tamer, everyone is present on all platforms. So if right now I'm targeting everyone at a frequency of 12 plus, either I'm getting irritated because, I can't cap the frequency. Through artificial intelligence, you can do that. You can do cross-platform optimization without going to the same guy again and again. I'm not talking about an individual, but about a cohort. So it helps you cross-platform optimization. Personalization at scale. We're talking about personalization for years right now, right? But is that the reality? When you see that a marketer want to do personalization, it goes to an agency or an in-house team, it takes a hell lot of a time. Imagine artificial intelligence scenario in personalization. On a click of a button, you can get 6,000 plus creators. So you can really do personalization at scale. Trading strategies and execution. A planner right now is spending 80% of his time on doing the basic day-to-day optimization. But humans, as such, the core job of us is to strategize, innovate, do new things around. So let AI do the hard lifting of doing execution, and we humans can think about new innovations and other stuff. And the lastly is privacy change. I mean, GDPR, California data privacy, the region privacy changes. Currently, we are not able to do things within the privacy domain. With artificial intelligence, you can do all of that thing. I'm going to walk that through pretty soon as well. Just to set the context, I mean, why I'm continuously talking about artificial intelligence, it's a clear example from all the brand people who are using artificial intelligence. It's a simple 2.5% X more return when you start using AI into your day-to-day activities. So that's about setting the context about marketers on how to use artificial intelligence. Now I'm going to talk about in the next 5 to 10 minutes about the new things in AI. We know AI helps digital marketing, do creatives, personalization, optimization. What are the new things which is going to be in AI? These are the top 4 new things which is happening in AI. I'll go one by one. Let me start with creatives. I mean, we are using designers, we are doing adaptations, agencies within themselves. How AI can help output in artificial intelligence can help the output into creative is what we're going to watch this video. It can do your GIFs. Everyone in the room will talk about, it's very easy to do GIFs, displays through artificial intelligence. Yes, it's easy, but it can also do creatives in videos as well. I'm going to show the next 2 videos which will talk exactly about that.
In the wild world of advertising, every second counts. Say goodbye to the hassle and high costs of tedious brand product shoots. Introducing Ad Room by Pixis, your ultimate co-pilot for collaboration and creativity. With Ad Room you can create like a pro. Whip up stunning ad creative before your coffee cools. Yes, it's that fast. Dive deep into customization with our cutting-edge integrated editor. With Ad Room, you're not just keeping up, you're setting the pace. Join the Pixis.
So every time Pixis comes, I'm going to just skip to the next part because Nadeem will tell me that you're doing selling. But what I'm trying to do is that, forget about Pixis. It's all about how AI is helping you to do new things. The next 2 videos which I'm going to do is that the new technology in AI, which basically does text to output. So the 2 videos which I'm going to play right now are only the text input given to the engine, and the video output is which you will see it right now.
Bounce.
So that's the first pillar in the 4 innovations I'm going to speak about. The first pillar is about creativity. And yes, you can do video outputs through artificial intelligence as well. Let's go to the next biggest pillar. Most of us who are doing marketing have some brand ambassadors or influencers into their day-to-day activity. The next big revolution which is coming into artificial intelligence is about how do you use AI for celebrity endorsement. So this particular video is going to talk about how L'Oreal, I'm an ex-L'Oreal guy, so I'll take the liberty of talking about L'Oreal on the stage. So how if L'Oreal wanted to use Zoe Saldana as one of the brand ambassador, if L'Oreal would have approached Zoe, she would have charged $5 million for 2 days shoot, which I would have done 1 day for the sales meet and 1 day for the shoot. I wouldn't have got as much as output I could have done. But imagine if I would have gone to Zoe Saldana through an artificial intelligence kind of a deal, this is how it's going to look. That's the second innovation into AI into celebrity endorsement. You saw 48 hours to get the output. The output from the AI was in 5 minutes. We took 47 hours and 55 minutes to take celebrity approvals as well. So AI is pretty fast, but at the end of the day, it's way legitimate in terms of the users as well. So that's the second innovation. The third innovation in AI, which is going to be generated and going to be really big, is something, imagine AI to do your media plans. We have agency folks in the room. Imagine you tell an artificial intelligence that, hey, XYZ AI, I want to create $1 million plan for Saudi tourism, and these are the KPIs. Will that generate the output for you? Yes. So that's the third innovation which is coming into artificial intelligence. And the next video is going to speak about that as well. I'll take a pause there, but the point here was largely that imagine a situation in innovation for agencies, for clients in the room. Your things, the hard work acquisition and day-to-day optimization is done by artificial intelligence. Imagine a ChatGPT version of a media planner for yourself. And the last thing which I'm going to speak about innovation in AI is, I've spoken, all of us know that privacy is a key concern for all of us. But most of the marketers which I talk to them, imagine, I won't name, but global Fortune 500 marketers, when I'm selling them my artificial intelligence, sometimes they say, are you using ChatGPT? Sorry, I don't want to work with you at all, because I don't know where my data is actually going and is that data into a right usage or not. For them, what we're trying to do is bringing LLMs in-house. So imagine you have a model trained in your headquarter, in your entire cloud surface or whatever you guys are using, and that thing taken to your global anticipation. So build LLMs in-house is what the next innovation which most of the artificial intelligence right now in digital marketing is doing. So that's about it. As I say, I'm not going to speak here about the privacy via GDPR. Little bit about us. We are US headquartered, 16 offices globally, official Google Meta marketing partners. Some of the clients on the screen are working with us. Nadeem always says that don't take 15 minutes, and Nadeem, I have not got a ticker yet. So I commit on bringing efficiency. So I was given 15, finishing in 13, or maybe less than that. So 20% efficiencies there as well. So apart from the ugly face, what you saw on the stage, there are 3 beautiful people from my team in the room as well. So if you want to interact more, please find us out. And thank you so much, guys, for listening to me.
Thank you, Neil. That was an interesting deep dive into AI and how it's revolutionizing digital marketing and advertising. Interesting view on cross-platform optimization, personalization at scale, trading strategies for execution, privacy changes, and more. I personally like that, how quickly it takes to create an AI studio-grade celeb-endorsed ad. I don't know how many of you caught that joke, but he said it can be done really quickly. A majority of the time is taken for celeb approvals. Anyway, once again, I've been told that they really don't want to take that PS5 back home. So here's your final reminder. Please scan the QR codes for both the PS5 and the Apple Watch that we're going to be giving out at the end of this Saudi breakfast briefing. Next up, we have a fantastic panel on exploring the future of strategic impact on Saudi Arabia's sports marketing. We're going to have a couple of great panelists talk about a very interesting topic around sports marketing. But before that, we have a short video from MMS that we will play, and we'll get straight into it after that.
الأرقام القياسية والإنجازات التاريخية أصبحت ملازمة لدوري روشن السعودي، حتى أصبح محط أنظار الصحافة العربية والعالمية، فازدادت شعبيته وجماهيريته، وبات يحظى باهتمام المجتمع الرياضي من حول العالم لكونه بات ينافس ضمن أقوى 10 دوريات في العالم. فتسابقت القنوات على نقل مبارياته ليصل عدد ناقليه لأكثر من 50 محطة عالمية، مما أدى إلى نمو غير مسبوق في نسب المشاهدة في المملكة وعلى مستوى المنطقة، وهو ما دفع الرعاة للقدوم والاستفادة من هذا النجاح غير المسبوق. فتحول دوري روشن السعودي من كونه مجرد بطولة محلية إلى نقطة جذب استثمارية قوية، وأصبح الوجهة الأولى للعلامات التجارية للوصول إلى جمهور واسع ومتنوع. وفي MBC Media Solutions بصفتنا أحد أهم الشركات الرائدة في قطاع الحلول الإعلانية، عملنا على تلبية هذا الاهتمام المتزايد بجماهيريته من خلال إطلاق MMS Sports لتصاحب رحلة المشاهد الرياضي وتوفر للمستثمرين مختلف حلول الإعلان الرياضي. استطعنا من خلاله تحويل هذا الاهتمام المحلي والعالمي إلى شراكات استراتيجية مع كبرى الشركات العالمية في مختلف المجالات. هذه الشراكات صنعت لشركائنا تجارب إعلانية ناجحة لاقت أصداء واسعة، وهذه الإنجازات ليست سوى بداية، فالدوري السعودي يستمر بحصد الأرقام القياسية في الأداء والجماهيرية ليوفر للعلامات التجارية فرصاً غير مسبوقة للوصول والتأثير.
Wonderful. Now it's time to get into a very, very interesting conversation. It's my pleasure to welcome them one by one on stage. Can I call on stage Mr. Khalid Al-Qadir, the CEO of SMC? It was a pleasure interviewing him a month or two ago. You'll see the interview on our campaign magazines that are all on all the tables in front of you. A very interesting one. We have next up on stage Mr. Bilal Farez, Senior VP and General Manager, Adidas EMC. We have next on stage Dareen Al-Kaisi, the Director, Managing Director for Saudi Arabia at Mindshare MENA. And of course, Ramzi Ghanem, the Client Growth Lead at MBC Media Solutions, MMS. Check. Perfect. So we'll pass these mics around, if that's okay. Perfect. Okay, I've had the pleasure of meeting all of you and speaking to all of you and interviewing some of you over the past few days, months. But I realize that a lot of people in the room might not know you very well. So we'll start off with a very brief round of introductions, if that's okay. And I mentioned brief, yeah? So don't worry. They're going to very quickly just share your names, designations, and your roles within your companies. We'll share the mic around. Khalid, would you like to get us started?
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. My name is Khalid Al-Khadir. I'm the CEO of SMC. Shall I give a brief? A very short brief? Very short brief about SMC. We do a lot of things, but from a sports marketing perspective, we represent the Saudi Football Federation. Al-Awwal Park is our investment, Team Falcons, as well as a number of football talents. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dareen El-Kaisi. I'm the Managing Director of Mindshare. Mindshare is part of Group M and WPP. We do media strategies, tech, and planning and buying.
Morning, hope you're doing well and thanks for having us. My name is Bilal. I lead the Adidas business for this region. Our region is the Middle East, North and West Africa, Central Asia, and a few other countries. We have a direct presence here in Saudi since October last year, which is one of the milestones in our journey in this region, and looking forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Ramzi Ghanem. What I can say is my life revolved around media, all my career life. So I spent like 21 years in publicist media. I ended up heading the Saudi market for around 10 years. And since the inception of MMS, it was really an interesting point that came up to, luckily to me, and joined this great environment where we have humongous growth and vision ahead of us. So here we are, and we hope we will be of value to you all today when it comes to the subject matter we're discussing.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. I'm just making it clear because I can hear myself very clearly. Was everyone at the back able to hear them as well? Okay. I'll ask all of you to just hold your mics a little closer when you're speaking so everybody can hear you clearly. Fantastic. Shall we dive straight into it? Great. Now, a lot of people, even in this morning, have spoken about what is the actual impact of sports marketing, talking about measurement. A lot of conversations in 2024 have been around measurement, have been around ROI, have been around ROAS, what kind of metrics. We'll get to that, right? Before that, I think it's important to just dial back a bit and speak to what we do within brand and marketing overall. There are two key focus points that have come out in 2024. How about we look at a long-term, sustainable way of building a brand? How about we look at long-term, sustainable ways of building brand loyalty, right, with consumers? Dareen, I'll start with you, if that's okay. The first question that I have is, how are brands that are investing into sports marketing developing these deep emotional connections with communities, both globally and locally, in terms of building that long-term brand loyalty?
Sports in general evokes emotional connections. Like the fans are not only loyal to the teams or like the athletes, they're also loyal to the brands that are associated with them. I can give you a best practice by PIF when they sponsored the ranking of ATP and WTA. They brought their brand purpose to life. So it's all about investment, it's all about enablement, it's all about like the global communities. If you look at the ranking is all about success. And you want to get more money, you want to get more famous, but at the same time, sponsoring a WTA, you're bringing equality to the field. You're bringing more women to the tennis field. By sponsoring tennis, which is a bit of a niche sport when it comes to Saudi Arabia, it's an expensive sport as well. So you have the sense of enablement. You can have the right coach, the right field, the right racket, there's a lot to it. And then if you look at what PIF is doing, they're investing in these athletes and they're aspiring to international communities as well. They're also investing in the technology of the game. So this can bring a lot of opportunities for broadcasters as well, whether it's a score or a ball or that. So I think that's how they can be memorable and they can be a top of mind brand when it comes to enablement and growing global communities.
That's quite interesting. And Bilal, I see you nodding your head to that. You've been active within this space as well. What's your take on that?
Look, totally agree. That's why I was nodding. But if we zoom out, if you look at this market for the last 4 years, I think we can all agree that the focus has shifted from other regions of the world to the Middle East. And as you said in the opening, Saudi is definitely leading the charge when it comes to a lot of initiatives, specifically around sports, entertainment, that's very visible. But they are fast becoming also a hub for many other industries. The fashion industry, definitely logistics, and for sure tourism in the next few years to come. So as a global company, we did make the decision a few years ago for a number of reasons that we need to be present in a market like Saudi. For a consumer that's very strong, very demanding here in the region, but also the halo effect, the influence that this region and this country specifically would have on all brands and all businesses really in the Middle East and Africa and other parts of Asia as well. So we, as a global company, had to overcome quite a few challenges, but in October last year, we set up the business here in Saudi as a subsidiary, as a direct business, and it's fast proven to be one of the best investments we've made. And to enable that business, we have been super active, as you said, on all fronts, be it business, sports. As you know, we've signed up quite a few prominent clubs, federations, and also teams and players. On the fashion side, on the lifestyle side, which is something very close to our business also, we are collaborating with a lot of local creators, a lot of local initiatives, including what we saw yesterday from Adidas with the Ministry of Culture and the Fashion Week that started yesterday with a specific Adidas show, which was incredible. All of that is quite busy, quite fast moving, unlike many other parts of the world. So under the umbrella of 2030, we see a lot of parallels for Adidas to dive into, to be a partner with from now, because I think the speed that the country is moving at, another 6 months or 12 months is too late.
That's
literally.
interesting. Because
and media is a big enabler. So to plug the media piece, I think with that voice of media, with that strategy that also supports what we're doing on the business side and everything else, we'll be literally losing a lot of voice, a lot of ground, and we aren't able to tell the story that's important to the consumer, but also to the market itself.
That's very interesting, because I was there at that event yesterday, and it was interesting to see how that vision of a brand being applicable within sports marketing is actually creating an underground, literally, culture of sorts and building that brand emotional connect with them. Ramzi, I want to bring you into this discussion as well. How have you seen, from your perspective, brand connectings with global and local audiences better thanks to sports marketing?
I will start by giving you the facts. So sports as a platform is an arena where it offers you a huge passion and an audience base. And the challenge to brands, how to activate and score on that spectrum. We have seen humongous number of brands engaging into sports, but their activation didn't exceed 20 or 15 or 25% of the rights they have and the scope that they can go with, apart from the likes of Adidas, they are in the DNA of sports. So what I say, you have the components, you have to be insightful and you have to be purposeful. So I'll give you numerous examples of connections we made with our partners, and like Dunkin' Donuts, for example, who was the broadcast sponsor of the Saudi League. They built on a very unique insight that in between matches, people tune off the sound. So they made a silent ad, a beautiful one, and it did create a lot of conversations. I give another example of our Matar app, which is a travel aggregator, whereby they wanted to share the experience with the viewers, and they created something around enjoy the trip before the match. And when it comes to being a purposeful brand, you need to know why you're engaging with sports. Yeah? So if you are a brand that's entering the market and you lack awareness, then definitely you should go on ground and achieve some visibility, create activations that help you along that spectrum. Whereas if you're a brand, you want to push hard sell, you come to us on a broadcast side to communicate different messages. And I give you again other examples. Saudi Tourism Authority, from a very small act we've done for them on King Salman Arab Cup, the games were being played in Taif and Abha. And in the MENA region or globally, everyone looks at Saudi as extreme weather, hot weather, whatever. Very few awareness that we have great geographies in the kingdom. So from a minor execution, we just put the weather in Abha or Taif during the game. You can't imagine the conversations created on social media immediately and for a 72-hour effect. Millions of conversations. I give you, I have a lot of examples, so I'm not going to exceed my time. What else I can give you?
We'll come back to that in a bit, because I'm sure that
we
have so many questions that everybody is going to ask about this. But I like that. I'll pick out and continue that conversation around purpose, because that's something that aligns the brand's values with the values of the consumer. That's creating real emotional connections where people, you're not only having the same conversations that the brand wants to have from the brand narrative point of view, but you're having conversations that consumers want to have as well. And you're getting to their level where you're having those conversations. That's creating a long-term conversation that might not be, like you said, directly about Dunkin' Donuts, right? But you're communicating brand values with what people are watching that sport for. And that's interesting. Khalid, you've been in this field for a long time, right? You've been active within sports marketing. I think Doreen's giving you the mic. You've been active within sports marketing and within sports advertising for a while. It'll be interesting, I mean, just to share and give some sort of perspective to the crowd. How has this evolved over the past 12 months? Have you seen a change within sports marketing, say 12 months ago to 6 months ago to where it is now?
Sports marketing has been big in the kingdom for a very long time. And brands have been engaged for a very long time. I think the differences in the last, I'd say 24 months, is the global attention that sports marketing has brought in. I'll give you an example. We were very lucky to work on the unveiling of Cristiano in our stadium. And after the unveiling, we did a very basic media evaluation of how much the cost or the value of the media that resonated the news of Ronaldo's arrival in the stadium. And that specific, just that 1 hour that he was in that stadium, the value of the media that went out was over $2 billion US. So investment of bringing him here in itself was a very smart idea. That's one. Secondly, you have a number of global IPs today that are coming into the kingdom, whether it be the tennis. We see there's actually a couple of tennis tournaments happening now, which I encourage you to visit. A lot of football staging events that have been happening. Formula One just recently in the last couple of years also been staged in Jeddah. The opportunities now allows brands to target more specific audiences. Before it was mainly focused on one, which was football. Now it is by genre, by age, by demographics, by even you can go as to the level of the nationalities, because cricket federation now is becoming a very big thing here in the kingdom. It's evolved, and I think it will continue. Sports is here to stay. The Asian Cup is happening in a couple of years. The World Cup, inshallah, will happen by 2034. And so sports is here to stay, and it's great for brands to start being associated from now moving forward.
That's fantastic. It's nice that every time I talk to Khalid, he gives me a headline-worthy quote. Yeah. So today's headline-worthy quote is, "Sports is here to stay, and if you're not invested in it yet, it's a great way to go." Ramzi, I want to bring this conversation back to you because Khalid mentioned a few metrics. Yeah, and I did say that we're going to come back to it, and I'm a man of my word. So in terms of people, because now the CMOs still have to justify, they have to have those real interesting and important conversations on the Exco. They have to have conversations with CFOs, with CEOs. And a lot of the time, unfortunately or fortunately, the question still asks, what's the ROI on this? What's the ROAS on this? What is the measurement? What are the projections like? So if someone were to ask that question to you with all your experience within sports marketing, what would your selling point be? How would you say that, yes, this is not only affecting top of the funnel brand awareness, mid-funnel brand consideration, but also affecting actual bottom of the funnel consumer spending, brand conversion, sales, revenue, bottom line?
If it comes to me personally, I would put sports marketing or football and performance or guaranteed outcomes. So to that level, we have reached sort of a confidence in the outcomes. Today, the alchemy that, and when it comes to the rights that we have from a broadcast perspective, the alchemy that football or sports in general provides you is unlike any other type of media mix you might have. So it's offering you empowerment for a full funnel empowerment. Not only the upper mid funnel, but we're witnessing a huge impact on the lower funnel or immediate ROI. This is where we connected with a lot of CMOs and decision makers and business owners. We heard always the narrative that we need immediate ROI. بالعربي عم نسمعها المردود اللحظي. This narrative was first increasing with every meeting we've done. We've reached a situation where we really are engaging into not guarantees, but seeding confidence with our partners. I'll give you numerous examples. Today on our platform, we have our biggest revenue stream is from those type of people. We have 4 or 5 marketplaces or aggregators who are sponsoring the Roshan Saudi League broadcast site. Amazon, Al-Matar travel aggregator, B-Care insurance aggregator, Jahiz as a food aggregator. So this alone is a testament that these people are getting immediate ROIs. With one of them, we started testing slowly but gradually, how can we generate saving on their performance budgets? So we started by, together with them, during the match days to alter their performance budget, tone it down a certain percentage. When we have a match week where we have more important events happening, they tone down. So they reached a certain mix that they were able to achieve around 25 to 30% saving on their core performance budgets around the match days. Give you another example. We got a challenge from one of the destinations, and it's a complex marketing. It's not a retail or an easy sell. And it's one of the most important destinations in the kingdom. And you need time to build the brand to compete with Bali or with other destinations. So during the King's Cup final, we raised the challenge. And the outcome, I think, and Saud, my colleague, was championing this, we were amazed by the outcomes. For a 72-hour span from the point of exposure till 72 hours, we have witnessed 700% increase in the organic searches for that specific destination.
Interesting.
So this tells you alone what sports power is. And again, it depends on how brands utilize, deliver the messages across the spectrum. I give you other examples. With retail sectors, we're witnessing uplift immediate and for a certain time, 5-10% in the sales. we go to more complex decisions like promoting a destination, promoting communities. Yesterday we signed a beautiful partnership with the National Housing Company where they're redefining the way, the urban life in the country here. And again, this is a type of outcome that takes a bit more time, but we're sure we're going to go there by creating the right experiences, not only in the event itself, but we've created products throughout the sports consumption journey to deliver messaging for our clients and help them improve their ROIs.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It shouldn't just be a part of your sports marketing mix. It should be high up there. You know, it should be, if you're looking to do it, then you're doing it well. But at the same time, do it strategically. It's not just the what of what you do, it's the why of what you do and how of what you do that matters as well. It's a very, very interesting point. Well, I think we've made the case for sports marketing in itself. We've gone through the measurement. We've gone through the fact that it has an impact on brand. We've gone through the fact that it has an impact on consumers. Now, we've seen a bunch of brands directly within the sports realm like Adidas, but we've also seen a bunch of brands outside that aren't directly related to sports. Who would think that Dunkin' Donuts would sponsor a sports tournament, right? But having said that, there are a lot of brands that are not in the space of sports marketing yet, right? And Doreen, I'll come to you on this as well, is for brands that are not into sponsorships, naming rights, merchandising, IPs, who don't know or haven't entered that framework, so to speak, yet, what advice would you give to them in terms of the first steps that they need to take, in terms of the best practices within it, and what they should focus on as they start that journey?
You can start in several ways. Like we're seeing an increase in women in sports, for example, and we know that like if we go traditionally, like women are not really associated with specific sports like football, maybe wrestling, but we know that now we're in the era of entertainment, and we're seeing a lot of fans that are watching the WWE, for example. There is also the fashion in sports, so you see that in the King's Cup. With all the outfits and the different hats. So we're bringing that experience to the kingdom. So I think a lot of fashion brands can be associated with those events or maybe associated with just the entertainment of sports. Why did I choose women? Because I'm seeing now like in the 64 federations, at least one Saudi woman is participating in that. So if we go into that demographic, that can be an opportunity. There's of course other ways, like with influencer marketing. Like we've seen the storytelling of Beckham. We've seen like your competitors, like on Air Jordan, and you've seen the sales going up. Just by storytelling, just by telling the story behind that sport. You've seen 68, I think, % on sales on the Air Jordans, like just with that documentary. Same goes for Beckham, like the Google searches was around, I think, 700. It was up by 700 just to look at the jersey. So yeah, like there's a lot of ways that you can associate yourself with sports.
Perfect. I'm going to ask you to pass the mic to Khalid because I want to ask him the same question as well. In terms of what advice would you give to leaders or brands that are looking to enter that space of sport?
I just want to share an experience on this. We've had, when we acquired the stadium, we were the first to sell a naming right of a stadium in the kingdom. At that time, it was very challenging because there's no benchmarks, there's no figures, there's no numbers, even a perception, how would it work? And we were lucky that an entrepreneurial company, delivery app, joined us, and they did not expect to receive the feedback that they did, the value in their brand, which helped them raise funds and expand their services. And then it also, on another level, it allowed us to see the value, the actual value of the name, and we increased the value. We brought on a new partner, and then the partner was also very lucky to sign a long-term deal in which right before Cristiano joined. So the value now is probably double or triple. So what I'm trying to say is there are opportunities, and sometimes things are not, when you associate yourselves with certain brands or certain entities, certain players, certain individuals, it's important to assess firstly the risks, but also you have to calculate the opportunity because it could explode. And those that take the risks at this point of time, with all the investment that's happening in sports, it's a very, very good opportunity. And I'll leave you another quote, which is ride the wave.
Ride the wave. Right, that we have to ride the wave. And it's that point of time where if you've ever gone to Alawal Park and watched Cristiano play there, the sheer volume of a crowd of thousands going, "Sue!" along with Cristiano is incredible. Now, all the brands that are associated with that are not just building from a brand perspective, but we've heard today that that has an actual impact on revenue, that has an actual impact on bottom line, that has an actual impact on performance as well. Now, before I conclude, I think it's very important to just really quickly go down the line. We've spoken about the past, we've spoken about the present. Let's speak about the future really quickly. We'll keep it brief, closing statements. Ramzi, let's start with you and we'll come down the line, yeah? Closing statements on what you feel are the future trends, opportunities, challenges that we need to think of, address before we close.
I think the future is bright for the sports industry in Saudi. Actually, the future is bright for the whole country. We're living the moment, and I think in this country you have the most passionate audience ever. So when it comes to the sports marketing industry or the sports industry in general, just give us stability or sustainability in the standards of the players, and keep breeding new players, create grassrooting programs. And we've seen this year we started exporting players to the Italian league like Saud Abdul Hamid. So I believe for us, from a commercial perspective and monetization, the valuation of the league is $1 billion+ today, and the revenues are way less. So we have, commercially, we have a bright future. We're still way ahead of monetizing the value of sports. We're underpriced in this market versus the outcomes that we're giving to our partners, but we're happy with that. We want to build for the future. Today, the EPL generates around $10 billion of revenue every year, or the La Liga in Spain around 4, Bundesliga 3 point something. We want to invest, we want to create this belief for the future for our partners, and I think the future is on our side in this great country.
The future is on our side. Bilal.
I'll keep it close to Adidas. There's plenty. We're talking about sports, but sports has a very strong halo effect, especially in a place like Saudi. If you look at the crossover between sports and culture, athleisure, and some of the influence that sports has on many other sectors, specifically in the fashion area, it's very visible. And that's going to continue. We'll talk about the SPL, we'll talk about the pinnacle game, which is football. But if you look at Saudi, Saudi is in a unique and very strong position when it comes to things like e-gaming. The global audience and the target audience for e-gaming is phenomenal. I think we'll overtake football very soon. Absolutely Saudi is leading the way on it. So there's definitely an opportunity there. And last but not least, and definitely not least, and Darren spoke about this, it's the influence of the female, whether it's a consumer or a creator. We see many, many strong examples, including rising stars in the different sports. And thankfully, we've signed up many very strong Saudi players, whether it's Farah from a football perspective or Yara Hogbani from a tennis perspective. I can list many, but we are definitely seeing a trend that's far more demanding, and with all the respect to the men in the room, far stronger performing these days into the future. So that's another trend that is very important to keep an eye on.
I like that.
That's a very strong statement as well. I mean, and I think for everybody who's seen the Saudi women's national football team play, you'd know what Bilal was referring to, as well as the Esports World Cup that just concluded as well. Fantastic, phenomenal turnout, and award running around it. Doreen.
Yeah, and I want to bring a topic that with a closing statement. Like, we've seen esports, and esports is very important now. Like, we're bringing a traditional game into more immersive experiences, and I think there's a lot of potential there. Like, especially that Saudi hosted the esports cup this year. That's exactly. And I think if you don't want to go into the specific event or like the traditional jerseys or logo or stadium, I think there is a huge opportunity going there. And with the government backing and with us hosting the World Cup, I think the future is bright for Saudi.
Inshallah. Closing statements, Khalid?
I just want to echo what my colleague said. I think e-gaming is big. We saw a Saudi team that won the World Cup, Team Falcons, which we proudly represent. The amount of brands that want to be associated with them is tremendous. We also see women's sports is a very big opportunity, and it's growing. We recently signed with Lay's to sponsor the league and name the league of the Women's League and the name. And I believe Saudi talent is going to be in sports is also a very big and important investment where brands want to be associated with them. We mentioned Saud Abdul Hamid, is an excellent talent that went outside and is an icon for the country playing abroad, and to be associated with individuals that are diverse and also have, I think nowadays as well, sustainability is a very important topic to be associated with, and brands want to be associated. So there is that also in whether it be in fashion and clothing, or whether it is in what these individuals drive and so forth. So I think these three elements are very trendy and is important for the future.
And that's a fantastic way to end this panel. Thank you so much for your time, for your insights. Let's give them a loud, wonderful round of applause. What a great panel. Thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. I mean, I can officially say that I'm not a very happy Manchester United fan right now, but I enjoyed that panel on sports marketing. Thank you once again. Now it's my pleasure, before we go into a quick break, we have a fantastic fireside chat. For that, I would like to welcome on stage our moderator, Diala Badran, Head of Content Solutions, Meetup, TikTok. One of the great strategy heads at TikTok. And joining her on stage, we have Kaswara Al-Khatib, the chairman of the board at UTUR and U-Turn Web Media Group, UWG. I think your mics will be here. Thank you very much.
Is it
Check.
working?
Hello.
Hi. Well, thank you for being with me today.
Pleasure.
So indeed, our chat is on the business of entertainment, but I'm going to preamble that a little bit. So with the rise of platforms that are video first, like TikTok, what we've learned is that entertainment is king. What that means is people are watching and consuming what they love and what's keeping them entertained. And I think what that's done is it's leveled the playing field for brands, because what we're saying now is if brands do content really well, they have a chance to be just as popular as viral user content, viral creator content, and so on. So that's going to be how I pick Kaswara's brain today, and I'm honored to have him with me today.
My pleasure.
I think Kaswara is an ad man who turned his career into publishing, so I think he's like the perfect person to have this conversation with. Thank you for being with me.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
I'm going to start with I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to start by saying, why are brands so resistant to this? Like, why don't they lean into this?
It's a very interesting question. And as you said, because I started in advertising back in 2002, where advertising was at its peak. It was pure advertising where, like the creative brief was meticulous. We had, the reason to believe, emotional benefit, physical benefit. And when we meet with the client, we had to go through the brief and that the campaign we're developing meets the brief. Does everybody agree to that? We used to work like this. Now it's changing a lot, and because I've seen that and I know where we're going today, so today it's a totally different discussion. It's a totally different ballgame. We used to get the information from watching TV. You're stuck with a couple of channels. You zap through the channels when there's an ad going on. If you're like me, you love advertising, you'd sit and watch it. However, today it changed. We're no longer going to a specific channel. We're following specific people. So the experience has changed a lot. We used to consume an ad and appreciate the creativity, the twist in the end. It starts somewhere and it ends somewhere else. A 30-second commercial, and that was the entertainment. Today it's longer than that. You're following a certain people, an influencer or even a content creator, and you enjoy what they create. So if I relate to that, that's where brands need to be. The problem I see it today and has been for a while is like the resistance from brands to shift their mindset. So they agree, yeah, we want to do digital advertising. They would take the campaign that's on TV, take it, put it on YouTube or on TikTok or on, I don't know, the platform, say, we've done a digital ad. That's not what a digital ad really is. A digital ad is an ad that's natively coming from a digital content creator or an influencer. So the challenge from agencies to change that mindset, whereby we've been used to coming up with a reason to believe, an emotional benefit, a physical benefit. We have a reason for being as an agency that we serve the client, try to simplify what the client wants, take it to the creative or production house to develop the campaign. Today is not as complicated as that. Brands sometimes can go directly to an influencer or a content creator that they like their content, they associate with, it has the same brand values, same brand essence, and they do the campaign with them. So this is the challenge, and if brands don't shift their mindset, I think they'll be left out, because some brands are already doing it. If you look at, we could speak about a couple of examples potentially, but there are brands who adapted to this, and these brands are growing today on digital and social.
I think there's something to unpack here. There's two parts to bringing a brand's creatives to life or their content to life. There's the brand and there's the agency.
Yep.
And when we spoke a few weeks ago, he said something that really stayed with me. He said, brands not only need to shift, they need to think of themselves as broadcasters.
Absolutely.
Can you unpack
sure.
that?
I mean, and this has been going on for a while, but adaptability has been very slow, because again, brands run the risk of coming up with content while they think they should just be doing, the products. However, if we look today at Mattel, Barbie, if we look at Lego, I mean, they have a film, they have content, and so they're becoming broadcasters. And again, they know their product and their brand very well. And the best thing to do is for you, who owns the brand, is to develop the communication rather than going to a third party, and that third party or second party does that communication for you. I mean, mind you, we have two agencies in the group, so I'm not against agencies. What I'm advocating is for agencies to evolve, to develop into what is really happening today, and not still claim that, yeah, we are an agency, we're a creative agency, we're a digital agency, but we operate in a mindset that was, 10 years back or 5 years back. The new mindset, I mean, is allowing the creative to do what they do very well and what attracts the audience. If I may give an example, I mean, in U-Turn, one of our most popular product is U-turn sketches. It's been running for a while, and people love it because it's very universal, very insightful. Talks about situations, like whether brothers and sisters, husbands and wife, or whatever we go through. And we like to experiment. So a brand came and insisted that we work with them, but they wanted a few things that we have to say in our sketch. And we thought, we resisted that at the beginning, but then the brand says, it's a big campaign, and we said, fine, we'll do it. But we had an agreement with the brand, is like, we do with and without what they want us to specifically say, and it's sometimes just a few words that you have to say, mentioning the brand or saying the tagline, and consumers, interestingly enough, noticed the difference. And one of them, it came backfired, sort of, that's a campaign, that's a paid ad, versus another one where it was just very native, it's just a product placement where the product was there, but the whole essence of the brand was in that piece of sketch, and people like the native one more. So that's where the fine line is. I think brands need to, and agencies who recommend as well, is to loosen up on what needs to be said, loosen up on the emotional, the physical benefit, and the attributes, focus more on the brand experience, focus more on the brand essence, what the brand needs to associate with, and find the right content creator, right influencer to associate and tag along with. I think that's really the advice.
Yeah, I think that A/B test tells you so much,
Absolutely.
right? And I think, because you mentioned something about the sketches, which obviously are hugely popular on TikTok and on U-turns pages, but entertainment is a spectrum. It's not just comedy. And I think often brands are like, oh, I don't want to do entertainment. I don't want people to make fun of my brand. Actually, entertainment is a range. It's podcasts, it's sports, it's on and on. So I think...
Yeah, I mean, comedy is comedy, but entertainment goes beyond comedy. Entertainment is when you watch something and you get interested in, you get engaged in, and it affects your emotions. So sometimes drama could be entertaining. Yeah. Horror could be entertaining. Podcasts are very entertaining because there's a lot of new information that is being presented in a different way. So that's also, whether it's series or the sketches, that's also entertaining. So really, the word entertainment has been associated with online more because it's mostly people who are doing it that we relate to, and we consume that content. So I like that person. I like the way they present their content. I like the way they present themselves, and I get entertained by watching them. So this is really what we mean by entertainment. It could be lighthearted, it could be interesting to watch, but for sure, it doesn't necessarily be just comedy or something to laugh at.
I think it's about creating content that resonate with people.
Absolutely.
About creating connections. When you watch something and then there's a product in it, but you're loving the content, you're gonna feel something.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's gonna maybe, I don't know, push you to buy it. And I think there's a lot of trends and a lot of tools that advertisers can use, a lot of monitoring platforms and all of that are available that help as well agencies and brands lean into what's coming up so that they can get better at that.
Absolutely.
I think that hybrid space that you're playing in as a group is really, tells a lot about trends and all of that, and can inform brands as well.
Absolutely. I mean, what good would it be if you're in a digital realm and don't use the tools?
Exactly.
So the whole idea of going digital are utilizing the different tools that are out there, whether to identify target audience, whether for, to audit what content has been out, what is working, what is not working, when to publish, and all of those tools are important to be utilized. So if you're not utilizing these tools, all what you're doing is using a platform merely to post in content. I mean, it's as good as using it on TV or in other platform. But going digital is where you have those tools that enable you to expedite, the reach that you want to, more targeted, more focused, and in the end, definitely more results to be achieved.
I think there's also a question as well on using the tools for efficiency. We're sort of, I think you said it best the other day to me, you said, we're in the golden era of media.
Absolutely. I mean,
it's cheaper to create content.
Much cheaper. I mean, if you go to the good old days when we used to spend a couple of million reals for a campaign, between production, maybe $1 million, and then you go media, a couple of millions. If it happens to be in Ramadan, a campaign could go up to 10 million. If you're doing integrated campaign using outdoor, using TV and magazines, it's a huge budget. I think today we're really going through, living the golden era of advertising, if you will, because the cost of production has went drastically low. Media money today, you can really produce a great piece of content. You're not limited to a 30-second spot. You're not limited to the ARI and the big productions. It could be done with a phone. But at what, maybe 1/5 of the cost that you would
Yeah.
produce, and the media money is really zero. You can boost it with a few thousand dollars and boost your content. But in the end, it's all about the quality of the content that you're doing. It's the story itself, and hence comes the storytelling. I think it's very important to look into storytelling because people understand stories, and stories are universal.
Yeah.
So the more storytelling we tell, and the more stories we give to our audiences, the more engagement there is, and that's where the beauty of what we're doing today. I could do a short film. I could do a series with the budget of one TV commercial that we used to produce.
Yeah.
And
cut
that's
it
what
down
we
into
spoke about it
thousands of
earlier.
pieces of
We're looking
content.
into producing content vertically now, like series. So this is something, we spoke about it before, and hopefully start seeing it in 25, whereby we'll have more series coming on the vertical and targeting wider audiences.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, on the note of vertical, it's a good segue into this section. So we're privy, obviously, to a little bit of data around how users engage with entertainment content on TikTok. So I think the number was like an average of 44 billion pieces of content related to entertainment are consumed in MENA on TikTok monthly. So that's just to tell you like the magnitude of the space that advertisers can deal with or and brands can come into. So I'm gonna play a little game with you.
Okay.
And it's I'm gonna give you 3 facts about entertainment.
All right.
And in true sort of TikTok fashion, I'm gonna ask you to 1, heart one.
Okay. Like.
2, comment on one. And 3, share one.
Cool.
But if you're gonna share it, you have to tell me who you're gonna share it with.
Okay.
So I'll start with the first one. Audiences are generally committing to about 4.5 hours a day on digital entertainment, which is basically like saying MENA audiences are watching a movie's time worth of entertainment on platforms. Fact number 2, 81% of consumers' purchase decisions were influenced by entertaining content. And fact number 3, people are 3 times more likely to engage with an ad if they found it watchable.
Okay, so I have a like, a share, and
A heart, a comment, and a
heart,
share.
a comment, and a share. So the last one, I think that's a share for clients and agencies.
Yes.
Definitely, because we never have enough trying to convince brands and agencies the power of content and influencers and content marketing, and give us the freedom and the creativity to express what we have inside.
Yeah.
Because this is the most difficult part, where you come up with a great idea, goes to the brand or the agency, and a simple tweak that kills the whole. To them, it's like, it's just a simple word that you say, but it changes the whole narrative and changes the whole story that we're telling.
Yeah.
So that, and then we have the like, and what, so can you
So
say
then
that?
we have 81% of consumers' purchase decisions were influenced by entertaining content. And the first one, which was people are spending about 4.5 hours consuming, like almost a movie's worth of time.
So the first one is the like, the heart.
The heart.
And then the comment would be on the
81% of consumers.
The time of spent. Actually, the reason I wanted to comment on this one, I think definitely there's a lot of time being consumed, consuming content, but I think there's also great time creating content.
Yes.
So today, I mean, in my household, I have my little girl. She's 9, I think, years old. She's spending most of her time on TikTok trying to create content, and then it's always a struggle between her and the mom. It's like her mom says, enough using electronics, it's time to focus on your studies. The way I see it, I tell her, like, there's a great opportunity. We might have an up-and-coming influencer that help us increase the monetization that we have in there, and at least I'll have a loyal creator, because one of the issues we have creators coming in, they start growing, and I wish everybody the best of luck, but then they tend to become bigger, and then they want to venture out. So having my daughter probably would be a loyal, I hope so, that we just stay loyal to U-turn.
Once she's of age, we're happy to encourage her on the platform. I think this is an amazing point. Throughout my career, you sit in these kind of briefings, these strategy briefings, and you hear these data points. And one I remember stood out to me was Saudi is one of the only countries in the world where people consume as much as they create content. So download, upload, all of that. And I think maybe I'd love to pick your brain a little bit about Saudi in particular here. What is the role of Saudi in in content creation and the sort of the evolution really for the kingdom?
So there are two aspects to it. One is let's talk about the normal Saudi, the consumer or the average Saudi who's very tech savvy. We have the highest penetration of mobile phones, I think, in the region.
Yes.
1.5 mobile phone per person. Again, the internet, the bandwidth is really fast. Adaptation to technology has been happening at a very fast pace. I think this all contributed to having Saudis more on social platforms and the adaptability. So every new platform that comes out, you'd find Saudis the first to adapt to, start creating content and consuming content. I think what's interesting, because historically, if you look at Saudi, we were consumers of content for a long while.
Yes.
Even though we had Tash Matash as a Saudi, but probably that was the only Saudi content that we produced. However, we were brought up to Egyptian series, even Gulf like Kuwaiti, Syrian, Lebanese, but we never had our own. With the change of the penetration of the internet and the social media and what have you, Saudis found an outlet for them. And that's why it was great. That's the only. We all wanted to be on social media because for once, we can say what we want to. We have a platform. Typically, you have to be big enough to reach TV, and then you audition, and to make it to TV was very difficult. With online today, it was much easier. But then the challenge is your content has to really be good. Yeah. And I think this is what got Saudis excited. We started back in 2010 with U-Turn, Telfaz, Sahi. It was a whole movement that everybody wanted to start create content because of the ease and low entry level. You don't need a big camera, you don't need big studios, you don't need big channels. All what you need is your phone, a laptop, and put your content on one of the online platforms. So this is what gave Saudi that edge. And you see it today moving from simple content on online platforms to cinema. So on cinema, we see a similar, although it's still at a very infant stage, but we see big changes. And then couple that with what the government is doing in terms of enablement, in terms of whether it's funding for content, whether it's production and studios, whether it's laws and regulations that is allowing more and more content creators to come. I think this is where the whole magic is happening and will continue to happen.
Yeah, allowing that space for creativity, empowering it actually.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Since we're on a panel and we can't be on a panel without talking about AI. We're going to close with a question around AI. Is there room for AI tools in the business of entertainment, or are they at odds with the business of entertainment?
No, I think there's definitely a big room for utilization of AI. Maybe it's a bit overhyped. So when everybody's talking AI, everybody's talking AI. So if you're going to go and use AI and you go to a prompt, say, I want you to create a piece of content for me that does this and that, this is a waste of time because that would be very basic, what everybody does. The way I see it, AI is like, where calculators first came? Yeah. People used to do it 5 times, 25 used to be manual, then came calculators and made it much easier. But still, you still have to do this multiplied by that. And that's exactly what's happening today in AI. It just makes our life a lot easier, a lot faster, but using it properly. So if you think I'm just going to go to one of, like ChatGPT and just put in there, create an ad or a piece of content, it's not going to get you anything because quality in, quality out. You need to have the right prompt. You need to understand the tools. So most of the stuff that we see done on AI is done through multiple tools. It's not just one platform where you plug in a question, even the generative AI. I mean, everybody's talking about it, but whoever worked on it, there's still a lot of limitations, especially when it comes to video. So there's still a lot of limitations. However, what used to take a long time to do, like editing, today can be done much faster. So it's more of an enablement tool. It's a great servant, if you will, but if you put it as a master and you depend on it, you're gonna hit a wall. Yeah. So always look at it as a slave. You tell it, a stupid one, sorry if I may, although it's called AI, but you have to tell it everything, how to think, how to act, and how to give you an output. Yeah. If you don't follow that, you're gonna get the wrong output. Yeah. And that becomes a serious issue.
And with that, we close on AI, as usual. Thank you for having us. Thank you for being with me.
Pleasure being here. Thank you, guys.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Well, That was very, very interesting. People follow people, using the right tools if you're using the right platforms, and please focus on good storytelling. There's so much of good meat. There's so much of good educational, informative conversations happening here today. Just to remind you, we're having a really, really yummy lunch at 1 p.m. today. We're going to power through this. We also are giving away that PS5 and that Apple Watch. I've been asked to remind everybody at 1 p.m. today. So we are powering through until we get to that PS5, until we get to that Apple Watch, and until we get to that amazing lunch. We're going to go straight into the next keynote. We've got a very interesting leader who's waiting outside, who's come in. We've got the CMO of STC and the head of Publicis Communications who are going to join us in a bit from now. So hold on to your seats because that's going to be our final fireside chat and it's going to be a great conversation. But before we get to that, we have the CEO and founder of AdScholar, Shrikant Raiprolu, who's going to give a keynote speech. And before he comes on stage, we're going to play a quick video for this keynote.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Can you all hear me? Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And it's an honor to be here talking about a very interesting topic that's keeping us all up night. Not to just meet the deadlines, but more about how AI has been taking over things. And I really loved the chat, what Kasaura was saying about how we need to keep it as a slave. So maybe my conversation would be taking most of you guys as how we need to make machines work for us rather than as humans, we need not succumb to them. So the topic is not about artificial intelligence, the topic is about human intelligence. If I have to keep something equal to artificial intelligence that has been taking over, I would call it human intelligence, and how we need to be more human in this time of AI and automation that's taking over. Before we get more into the topic, let me introduce myself. My name is Shrikant Raiprolu. I'm the CEO and founder of two wonderful companies, AdScholars and AdTech Today. I can be also called Sri. That's much easier for you guys to call me. We at AdScholars, in the last 6 years, we have grown to more than 7 countries, and we are a team of 100+ people, launching more than 2,000 digital campaigns in different markets. AdTech Today is a company based out of India, which is more into media and marketing. We work on a lot of interviews and news that we do with AdTech Today. This picture of mine is what I took in Saudi Arabia last year in the campaign Saudi briefing when I was here. I was among you guys sitting out there, listening out to the fantastic speeches. So I had to take that picture back up and put it there. And the reason I wanted to keep it there, it is so special, is it keeps me very special coming to Saudi every time. That was the first time that I've come in. And from then, we started AdScholars in Saudi Arabia. And today we're working with a lot of prominent agencies and brands here in this market, helping everyone. And it's a very special moment. And I have to be very honest, the warm reception that I receive in Saudi media when we go to the agencies is a fantastic feeling. That we cannot definitely trade in with some of the other markets that we see. So thank you for having. Okay, now getting in the topic, how many of you, I want to keep it a little interactive here, this session. So I want to hear from some of the people here. Isn't it a little overwhelming to hear these topics, AI, metaverse, and the one that takes me too much is quantum computing, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, cryptocurrency, cybersecurity threats, a lot of things and a lot of machines taking over these things. How many of you guys, I just want some hands up here, feel it's a little overwhelming? And maybe you guys keep hearing this on a weekly basis from your colleagues or in your companies everywhere. See, the boss is there, Kosara has all of it. So, absolutely. I mean, this is my main topic because it keeps it overwhelming. Even I feel it, honestly, how overwhelming can these things can be. That's one of the reasons the topic that I really wanted to talk is more about the human element in the age of machines, how we can put our touch. Because machines can procure data and do a lot of things, but humans are the ones who will put in the emotions beyond the ads and the creativity that we're going to do. And this comes from the famous saying of Steve Jobs. You know, this is what he has put in his company for the Apple, and the Apple's DNA is it's just not the machines and the technology that are going to take over things, but it's definitely the humanity behind it and the beautiful marriage of liberal arts that is going to take over the world and the creativity. And there is another quote from Kevin Kelly. He's the editor of Wired. Machines are for answers, humans are for questions. Such a fantastic statement. So you keep on asking ChatGPT a lot of questions, you keep getting answers from the machines. But humans, when they get asked questions, that's when they set a new tone. They try to be creative. They try to produce something very interesting. Okay, while I talk about the creative edge that humans should have in this age of AI and automation, I personally feel there are 5 things that humans already have this mastery inside them, which needs to be taken up. Oh, the screen's gone. Is there a lot of human creativity, or the machines are taking over, not allowing me to? Getting hacked. I was very thankful to Saudi and the machines, but like it's not working. Oh, we're back again. All right. Thank you, machines. Sorry, it's not, to put them down, but we need to definitely talk about the creative edge, why humans still triumph. So these are the 5 important aspects. These are something which is not outside, or these are not the skills that you need to learn. This is something that is inside the things that we have, which is a very big necessity right now for all of us to wake these things up. The first thing is human creativity, the art of originality.
Does your man look like me? No. Can he smell like
What's this ad?
Yes. Should he use Old Spice body wash? I don't know. Do you like the smell of adventure? Do you want a man who smells like he can bake you a gourmet cake in the dream kitchen he built for you with his own hands? Of course you do. Swan dive into the best night of your life. So ladies, should your man smell like an Old Spice man? You tell me.
If this is a little nostalgic, I don't know how many people know this ad, but this has been rated one of the most creative ads on the planet. And people would love to see the way it was shot. It is all one shot, the way it was done. And this speaks highly about originality, because the creativity lies in how we originally present pictures or things. But if we're trying to get something information from AI in writing a script like this, it would be mostly taking data points and trying to build something which will definitely not bring in the originality. And this is the second factor, emotional resonance.
Colin Kaepernick, an American football player, didn't stand up during the national anthem. Instead, he took a knee in protest against racism and police brutality.
Okay, so the second part where I was talking about the emotional quotient is where that can be only achievable by humans, because again, when it comes with the machines, the power of understanding and the context will not be that right, wherein how much of deeply you want to convey the message. Especially for the brands, the deep connections with the humans is very important. And that kind of emotional element can be only got from what we do it from humans. The third thing is unpredictability. Has it happened to any of the creative directors here that you really wanted to take a pen and paper and put down your thoughts, and it looks very nice up there, but when you try to picturize it or try to do it, it looks completely different? Because, again, going back to a lot of data points and trying to write a script based on the machines will not work, because the unpredictability is kind of making statements. And it needs to be completely done by questioning things on how they are done and keeping things completely differently, right? That brings me to one of my favorite ads. Sorry. There's the video.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward. While some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. If you look at what Apple's statement is, if you look at this ad, it's all about thinking different. They are not talking about their MacBooks or their mobiles and the products and the features that they have, but they're trying to give an unpredictable statement of how you as a human can think different and can evolve. And definitely that was one of my favorite ads. The fourth point is diversity. Here under this roof, I see people from different cultures, different countries sitting inside as one media forum. We all come together. And you know, the interesting part behind this is the diversity that we all bring in, the experiences, the culture that we have seen growing up at different places, and we come under one roof and work as one team to be like very diversified. This campaign done by Coke is a campaign, Share a Coke, if you guys know this campaign. This is where they have customized names deep down to the name level. And they have put in the names on the Coke bottles that can be shared with people. And it's just not Mark or Anthony or Adam from the US. It's also Abdullah and Mohammed's from the Middle East also, which were part of this ad. The last one is the purpose and meaning. While we have the emotional thing, connect, and the diverse cultures, the ideas, this is all great as humans. But the very interesting element of humans is the purpose and the meaning that we drive in. Because every human, when they want to convey a specific thing, they have an intention that they want to showcase. Machines will definitely not have a specific intention unless you try to train them to be one. So creativity is finally, it's just not about generating ideas. It's mostly about convincing and giving a purpose and a meaning. This campaign is a very famous campaign done by Dove. This is called the Real Beauty campaign, where they have identified women across different parts of the world, and they have showcased on how women empowerment can be done, and the beauty is inside and not outside as we perceive it. So this is, again, a very strong statement, and this can be absolutely done by humans. So why creativity is your best bet in the future is, while this AI and automation is taking over, there is a high demand for the creative roles that we see. Let that be arts, marketing, literature, content creation, social media, anything. But being creative, thinking out of the box, and giving suggestions and working along with the missions is what we're looking at. And this has a huge potential growth, and a lot of emotional connection is required with the customers, and that's what brands look at. When I talk about a lot about automation and humans coming together, I want to proudly present our company Ad Scholars and how we are trying to do with the help of AI studios and the human creativity together. So this is one of the new campaigns that we have done for Transformers. As you can see for this one, we have combined CGI and AI together and completely done this, built this game from scratch. is how you keep scoring points on this. And we stepped ourselves into conversational chatbot AI ads, where automotive brands, banking can actually have the chatbots customized as per them. There is a lot of creativity touch that we try to bring in with the colors and the brand emotions that we want to put in. And at the same time, we try to bring in also the AI on how the chatbot can understand the data and produce and change things in the next steps. This is one campaign for Oreo that we have designed. So some of these campaigns and ads that you're seeing are completely done by AI, while as humans, as our creative team has given our thoughts and did it together to build things like this. And this is something that we have done recently in India. This is for a sweets band called Haldirams. So that's all of those things that we're trying to bring in our company, and we're learning every day on how the automation, AI, and the human creativity can come together. There are some of the interesting tools that has been recently launched in the market, and they're going, top charts. I don't know, like how many of the people here is aware of HubSpot's content? This is something that's pretty much used on the websites. If anyone is interested to make a note of things, you use HubSpot. So this is something that you use for the content as SEO generation, and how a user comes in to your website, what they do entirely, and how they go back. But again, why humans are required in this is there should be relatable content that can be done by the humans on how each brand wants to use HubSpot. It can be used completely differently. You can make a note of some of these tools and go back and try some of these. Unbounce is a very famous tool that has been trending in the market. This is a machine learning tool which is used to, again, make your landing page layouts understand much better. This helps to see the heat maps where people are interacting a lot on your website and what kind of things can be improved on them. But again, the branding, the messaging, and the virality factor, again, completely depends on how we do it. Lumen 5 is growing much bigger. This is something that a lot of creative and content tools, people are using it. This is as simple as you just put in the text and it builds a video for you. By the way, this presentation that I'm presenting to you is done on a platform where I just put in a text saying human intelligence and I need this, and it has done 14 slides for me. And the rest of the slides, I customized it. So we're still not up there with the AI, but we definitely need human intelligence. So it's a combination to make anything look better. So coming back to Lumen 5, the creative touches and the script writing should be only done by humans. Again, you can't just throw something on a ChatGPT or Lumen 5 as a text and expect it to make it look much better. Few other tools listed down. Adobe Sensei. This is very trending. It's a creative design and image enhancement and used for the content creation. But the storytelling part of it should be again coming from the humans. Have you guys, anyone heard of Phrasee? Right, like this is something that a lot of people are using these days to make changes on their emails and ad copies. But you need to ensure that the language tone and what the brand voice and the sentiments of the brand are communicated properly. That should be done by the humans. And I hope this has happened to a lot of people here, that you guys tried to write something on a ChatGPT, like make an email look better, and after like certain time you have realized it's not your style of speaking out things. Because it happened to me whenever I throw an email to be enhanced by ChatGPT, whatever it gives me, it's not my style, and I keep engaging and making it learn on things. Wordsmith is again, it's a tool for generation of written content, transforming raw data into narrative. It is something that you actually just give any kind of raw data, let it be a table, any specific information that you want to provide, and pass it over. it completely gives a story writing behind that, a complete narrative. But at the same time, human writers are necessary to add more of creativity onto it and on how the context is done. Pattern 89, it helps you to predict creative elements. This is a tool that a lot of rich media people and using for campaigns. This is where the AI tool will understand what colors, what imagery of data is getting clicked more, or creatives are clicked more, and this kind of gets a lot of attention. But again, the innovative ad concepts, the visuals and copy that align with the brand goals, this should all come from humans. Finally, Sprinkler. This is a social media content planning one. There are a lot of things like social bakers and all of them, but Sprinkler has been trending these days, where you can put the automated schedules and where you want to run the ads, how things have been doing and all of that. But when it comes to the content part, keep it with you guys, and you need to enhance this much better. So all my points regarding these tools and automation and creativity is, where I want to say is, we stand here in the middle of the roads where two roads are going. One is going towards automation and the other is going towards creativity. We're in the middle. What we have to take? We have to take a road that is in between, which is a combination of automation and creativity. You know, the good King Fahad road in between, which will take you to your destination. But this, if you look at the points, like the data-driven insights can be only given by machines. It's humanly impossible to do a lot of data-driven insights. And getting repetitive tasks done is again something that we need to throw at machines. Again, this is humanly impossible. Well, what's humanly possible? Personalized customer experiences, branding on how your brand wants to speak, how your narrative of the story is. This is something that you need to do. And looking at campaigns on a daily basis and how the messaging, the targeting, everything should be changed, should again come from humans. I end my topic with the last interesting part. Have you guys heard of augmented reality? Augmented reality is something that you scan and you can bring the object out, put a pink elephant there, or put a giant wheel up there. Augmented creativity is a new thing where it's a combination of technology and the human mind, where the AI assistance, the emotional touch, and the human inspiration, these three subsets come together, and this great combination works out in the future. And I can rest assured, for the people who say AI is taking over jobs or something, this is going to keep us all up there, because nothing can replace the human creativity. So I want to finally end saying, in a world where machines can do so much, it's our creativity and humanity that is going to set us all apart. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Summary: creativity plus humans plus AI plus the right amount of emotional intelligence, and you've got success. We've got two panels, both extremely high level left, and the next one's particularly interesting, similar to the first one on sports marketing. The next one is on the revolution of Saudi tourism through digital storytelling. We have some great speakers on here, and it's my privilege to welcome them all one at a time. But before I do, there's a quick video by Fusion 5, which we're going to play on the screen to shake us all out a little bit, have some big noise come back in our ears, and then we go back into the panel.
This is Fusion 5, leading with agility. Our media agency utilizes its global network to access 4 billion real-time data points. We harness the power of AI and machine learning to optimize strategies and deliver extraordinary success. We offer fully custom solutions that are uniquely crafted for you. Our expertise delivers results driven by innovation, excellence, and superior performance. We connect, we inspire with our unique campaign approach, driven by true visionary passion. We drive success and growth for your brand with a team that truly understands and innovates. Partner with us today to unlock unparalleled growth and success. This is Fusion 5.
Nice. We've got a clap for a video. Excellent. Okay, let's go straight into it. We've got some great speakers, like I said. Let's put our hands together as we welcome them on stage. Coming in from the Ministry of Tourism of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Business Marketing Director of the Ministry of Tourism, Yusuf Laban. Can I have you on stage, please? We'll have our moderator, Ghida Ismail, the Media Director at Fusion 5 Advertising. We have the Communications Director at ASFAR, a Saudi tourism investment company, Marwa Al-Malik. We have the Director of Digital Solutions from the Saudi Research and Media Group, also known as SRMG, Nader Bitar. I like the little woo that came off another. Excellent. And we have Ali Hunain, the co-founder and CEO of Nesma Esports. I've got my listening ears on. My wife is a teacher. She says, put your listening ears on. I've got my listening ears on for this panel. Ghida, take it away.
This is not working? Okay. So thank you so much for attending this panel. I'm very happy to be moderating this panel with you. Today we will deep dive into how Saudi Arabia has been actually using the power of digital storytelling into driving tourism driven by the Vision 2030. So just before we start, I'd like to run a quick introduction of our panelists. We'll start with you, Marwa.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm genuinely excited and thrilled to be here on stage to discuss such a fascinating and important topic. I'm Marwa, the comms director at ASFAR. And before we get into everything, I'd like to just allocate a bit of time to introduce everyone to ASFAR, since we're fairly a new company. We launched back in 2023 in July, and ever since it's been a journey. We are ASFAR, the Saudi Tourism Investment Company, a PIF company. Our mission is to catalyze tourism through the power of win-win partnerships. And we do that through different streams of investments. One of them is destination investments. And I'm very excited to talk more about what we've been doing on our digital presence. But thank you.
Thank you.
Is this working? Can you guys hear me? Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Of course, it's great to finally speak about practicality of how transactions and how communication and attachment with the kingdom and the international market through different communication channels, which we'll tap into. So my name is Nader Bitar. I'm the Director of Digital Solutions at Saudi Research Media Group, and I'm super honored to be part of this panel and looking forward to this conversation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing good so far. My name is Eli. I'm the co-founder and CEO of NES. NES is a gaming and esports production and media agency. So we're focusing mainly and primarily on gaming products and esports around the kingdom and globally. We're also part of the Nesma holding company, so we're one of their subsidiaries. Thank you so much, Ghida and my colleagues, for being on this panel. And I see there's a lot of experience from this panel, so I look forward to it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Is it working? Thank you for having me, and I hope this panel turns into a very insightful one. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to share insights with such a distinguished guests from different, diverse entities. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So now that we've set the stage, I'll just start with the kickoff question, and I'd like to hear your perspective on all of that. So digital storytelling has been key in driving tourism in the whole world. In your experience, Marwan, I'll start with you. How do you feel this resonates to the Saudi market, and how has actually your organization or even the industry that you belong to have played a role in driving that tourism globally?
So I think everyone knows here that digital the digital sphere has given us a perfect platform to really shift perceptions across the world about our country. Traditionally, Saudi Arabia was perceived as a closed, mysterious land, but that's not the case anymore. Through digital campaigns and our digital presence, we have unveiled a new face, a face that is dynamic, that is diverse, that is brimming with opportunities, and most importantly, a face that is welcoming. So I had the opportunity to actually experience this shift firsthand. I've been living 13 years outside Saudi Arabia, and I've experienced, this shift of perceptions. And it was so powerful that I'm here today working at Tasfire in Saudi Arabia, joining you on this panel. So I'm very, very, and especially me being part of this industry. So away from that, in general, at Tasfire, what we've been doing is that we believe in the power of consistency. We've been consistently not just showcasing our priority cities, but we've went a step deeper to basically celebrate the essence, the culture, the natural beauty, and whatnot. And we even went a step further, and that's, I believe, what basically maybe sets us apart from the rest, is that we are telling the story of a nation in transformation, and we are putting the word out there. We're inviting everyone out there to come and be a part of this journey, and that Saudi Arabia is welcoming both tourists and investors with open arms. So that's for me.
Yusuf, given that you are coming as well from Ministry of Tourism, I'd like to take as well your take on that.
So to look at the impact of digital storytelling, let's go back a little bit in time, and specifically to 2019, and how things looked like. And specifically, 2019 is when the National Tourism Strategy was revealed, and the kingdom opened up its doors for the first time. We were all of a sudden faced, or the strategy sets ambitious targets of 10% contribution to the national GDP by 2030, 100 million tourists by 2030, which then turned into 150 million, 1.6 million jobs to be created. And all of these targets with a country that is not well known for being a tourist destination. Plus, the misperceptions that the world might have about Saudi, as a tourist destination in its commercial sense. Yet we knew that we had a lot of value propositions, a lot of competitive advantages, and we had a lot of stories. From a strategic location that connects 3 continents to the size of the country. It's the size of Western Europe. We're talking about a mass landscape and a very diverse one. Lush green valleys in the south. It snows. A lot of even Saudis didn't know that Saudi had snow in the north. Pristine coral reefs and the Red Sea, and all of these different advantages. We have the history, we have the heritage, and above all, we have the people. Tourism in its commercial sense might be a new concept to the country, but hospitality is not. Hospitality runs deep into the Saudi population, and
it's in the DNA of the
absolutely. So all of these stories are there, and we knew we had a lot to offer. But how do you bring these stories to life in such a short period of time to the world? How do you tell them to the world as if they, of course it's not going to be as, you experiencing it firsthand, but at least you get a sense, you change perception of the world. And this is exactly what we've been doing, and what we've been encouraging, as a regulator of the sector, to create more and more content on the digital space. And we've been we've been seeing that it's paying off, honestly. Last year, and especially in March, we've celebrated that we've welcomed 100 million tourists by the end of 2023, which, by the way, was a target of 2030. And now the target, lucky for us, was increased to 150 million by 2030. So yeah,
and I also think we will come back to that point specifically on the strategies behind that exponential growth for this touristic target. So we'll get back to that as well. Thank you, Yusuf. So Nader, from a media perspective, how do you see this narrative bringing or connecting the audience internationally with the touristic or with Saudi Arabia's touristic culture? So I'd like to take your input in that, just to see how, from a publisher, from media perspective, this is taken from another angle.
No, definitely. And while listening to Marwa and Yusuf, and I saw something that is very foundational and very common between not only from a Saudi national perspective, but from a perception perspective. So that's one, it's perception and how we actually produce content. But there's a fundamental component which really needs to be addressed is the amplification of it, and how do we really connect the global market to the local market.
Exactly.
And at SRMG, this is something that we are at the driver's seat. We're leveraging that by really producing content. We sit on a very extensive, beautiful portfolio of media platforms that both locally, regionally, and globally. And we're constantly adapting and building content to really reach the common objectives that we all have today. And from not only from a tourism perspective, but all the build-ups to what gets to tourism.
Exactly.
There's many aspects of tourism. It's not only about tourism to have fun, but there's investments, as you said. There's a lot of initiatives that are being done in the kingdom. So what SRMG is trying to do is fundamentally creating 3 fundamental pillars of content, and that's more or less our strategy. One is informative content. Second is entertaining content. And third is inspirational content. And when I talk about informational content, we're talking about content that is, yes, the press releases, the news, updating the international market on what's going on in the kingdom. And that's spearheaded by the publication like Al-Sharq Al-Awsat, Arab News, The List, and HIA, and different types of industries and verticals. And when it comes to entertainment, the likes of Thamania, the likes of Billboard Arabia, and the likes of others part of the portfolio, we're trying to really tap into the cultural aspect of the audience and the entertainment side, so that we can set our priorities. What's our focus today? Is it entertainment? Is it culture? Is it events? Is it in whatever focus that we're trying to have? And of course, the inspirational part is probably one of my favorite. And I being part of SRMG, and I being an expat as well. And the inspirational part, that we're trying to really create and build content that taps into an emotional connection with audiences. For the likes of what we recently have done, something really beautiful that I personally invite you guys to watch it on our assets, is what we've done through a short documentary and highlighting the beauty and the heritage of Al-Ula. And I, as an expat, I got goosebumps. And that by itself, we're trying to preserve the monuments and the heritage of Al-Ula. So combining digital story, combining content, and combining amplification, not only we're aligned with the Vision 2030, but we're trying to take your objective, and everybody in this room's objective to really know how to amplify the communication, build the proper channels, and of course, in various innovative and creative way as much as possible. And we're trying to drive that through our assets as SRMG.
Exactly. So now going back to that point, Eli, and moving, since we've already discussed in previous panels about sports and entertainment, we'd like to see from your perspective, from an esports perspective, how do you think it is integrated within the Saudi narrative, and what were the strategies that Nasma has been actually adapting to drive that growth and actually speaking to that international audience?
Thank you for the question. So I think most of you have heard this summer or this past summer about the Esports World Cup. I think just going back a little bit before going into the topic of the Esports World Cup and its amazing outcomes, esports is the competitive form of gaming. Gaming in its essence is all about storytelling. If you've played video games, you know that it's no longer just a casual setup. No, it's a lot more serious than that. There's content creators that are pumping on a daily basis billions worth of content on a daily basis, and you now have Saudi, who invested in PIF in an entity called Savvy Games Group. Savvy acquired the largest esports production company called ESL, and they've merged it with a platform called Faceit, which is now the EFG. And that entity has been known for organizing global esports tournaments. So just last year, just as an idea of how much revenue EFG has brought into companies, there's a flagship tournament called Intel Extreme Masters. It's happened every year for the last 12 years in Cologne, and just last year it surpassed $40 million over just a weekend. And if you look at how many gaming and esports IPs are available in the world, almost every single weekend you have multiple tournaments happening all over the world. But the most prominent one and the epitome of esports tournaments have happened last year in Saudi Arabia, or this year, sorry, which is Esports World Cup. Imagine $40 million over a weekend versus 2 months of back-to-back tournaments over 21 different games, and the impact this has happened. Our role as NES is we worked very closely with the Esports World Cup Foundation and a lot of brands as well to see how we can make the journey of these players, and we've had over 1,000 players come in to the kingdom from around the world, and we're talking about the best of the best because the qualifiers were extremely difficult to reach because of the nature of the prize pool, which was $60 million in prize money. And Team Falcons, which is a Saudi company, has won this because of their dedication and support that they got from the government. So when you look at this landscape and seeing how much of an impact this has had on a global landscape, having more than hundreds of teams from China, US, Europe come to Saudi Arabia for a period of 2 months, and they had more than 30 partner teams that were had an obligation to pump content so that their audience from wherever they came from are seeing Saudi Arabia and they're seeing the culture of Saudi. And we've had the privilege to work with these global teams like Tundra Esports, like G2, like Cloud9 on producing content for them. And each one had a different idea of what kind of content works on with their audience. So we've had a holistic approach of working closely with the foundation to see what are the main takeaways that they want and the main messaging that they want to do around that event. And we've also worked with brands that for the first time were getting into the space, and they really did not know how to properly integrate within that space, because you really have to be authentic when it comes to storytelling. Gamers know whenever a brand wants to want to push sales or want to be at the forefront. So you really need to navigate this very closely.
Sure.
And looking ahead for 2025, not only do you have the Esports World Cup 2nd edition, but you also have the first ever Olympic Games. That's happening, I believe, in Q4 of next year. And that's going to be a milestone. For us as an esports organization, we've been waiting for this moment to actually legitimize the sport. And I believe that
And how actually do you see leveraging digital storytelling within promoting that new event that you are holding?
So it's very tricky because you have a stigma about gaming and esports, that it's a waste of time, that it's bad for your eyes, so the way that every entity is trying to do this, because esports is very, very complex in its nature, because there's so many moving parties. I believe that, and the nature of gaming is all about storytelling. So whenever you're working with content creators, whenever you're working with game publishers, it's really important that you focus on a really holistic idea of how you want to be perceived as a welcoming nation to host all of these people from a global landscape to come over to Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
So the messaging is really important. And a lot of people were hesitant, when the first edition of Gamers 8 happened. They were like, what? I mean, I'm coming to game in Saudi Arabia. And if you think about it, they're coming to a country that's 50+ degrees over in the summer. But guess what? It's the perfect condition for gamers. We stay indoor, right? And then people, when they came to Gamers 8 the first year, there was a lot of backlash online. Like, why is it being done in Saudi? Why it's not in Europe or the US? And when people came here and they experienced Saudi hospitality, they absolutely loved it. And that's why this year, if you looked at the way EWC was communicated, it was through a lot of content creators, tapping into so many different games. And you've seen it across on CNN, you've seen it on Eurosport, which is the home of the Olympics, and you have NBC that turned completely into NBC Gaming, right, over the last 2 months. And my parents, who were always skeptical about what I do, they're like, oh, we saw the tournament. I was like, it's a World Cup, it's not a tournament.
Thank you, Eli, for your input. Marwa, I'll go back to Asfar, and we know that the entity focuses on investments for tourism driven by Vision 2030. So can you share with us how do you believe Asfar is actually utilizing digital platforms to promote global tourism for Saudi and actually promoting it as a global touristic hub?
Exactly, Rida. Asfar has been established to deliver on the objectives of Vision 2030, be it catalyzing tourism or through enhancing the quality of life wherever we invest, or even, what's the third one? It's the tourism, the
Investments.
No, wait.
No, not yet. Startups,
Oh, no.
entrepreneurship.
Make it worse. But basically, it's really everything that we're doing is to contribute to the realization of Vision 2030, right? And and that strategy is really mirrored in our communication and marketing strategy. So throughout our digital storytelling and activities, we have done that. We have built connections, we have driven investors, and we have proactively positioned Saudi Arabia as on the global tourism map. So that's what we've been doing so far through our digital presence.
That's excellent. So now going back to the ambitious plans of achieving 150 million tourists by 2030, it's very important now we are in the era of data. And it's important for us to understand from a data-driven perspective, what are the strategies that have been applied to understand audience insights and actually resonate with them through specific communications? And how has this helped in achieving the first goal last year, which was supposed to be in 2030, and how this will also drive that exponential growth by 2030?
That's an excellent question, especially, that I'm a big believer in data-driven kind of storytelling. Maybe because I came from the banking sector, so that has to do with it. But still, even in tourism, we speak to a very diverse audiences, be it investors, tourists, workforce, thought leaders, etc. And always, data-driven stories can help, streamline the decision-making process. Now we have a deputyship within the ministry that is, responsible for generating these statistics, analysis, etc., called the Data and Decision Support Deputyship. Now, our role in comms and marketing is to kind of take these data and turn them into, a consumable, stories for these different audiences to achieve different objectives. And, creating the right narratives, putting them into the right, perspectives to kind of create meaning behind that or these raw data.
100%. And it's really very insightful to see that there are different organizations that are playing different roles, however serving the same objective. So it's really interesting to see that from different perspective. Now that we are conscious of time, and I think it's just to look at the future and looking ahead, how do you see, and I'll start with you, Nader, how do you see cross-partnerships and cross-industry partnerships and collaborations will play a vital role in driving that tourism and actually achieving these ambitious plans for touristic figures and actually bringing Saudi Arabia as a global touristic hub?
No, absolutely. I think it's a fundamental approach for a country like Saudi Arabia to bridge itself with the international market. With our growth-minded transformation that was led with our leadership team at SRMG, they led and created partnerships with the likes of Bloomberg, with the likes of Warner Brothers, with the likes of Brut, with the likes of PMC Media. And each of these partnerships are basically not a matter of just media partnerships.
They
They're
will
actually
play that
strategic,
role,
100%.
exactly.
And so whatever content that we produce at SRMG, based on your point, that is curated and we're trying to really recreate narratives on digital. And these narratives speak to different audiences. So whether the ones and audiences that actually would want to visit Saudi for historical purposes, for religious purposes, for luxury purposes, and each of these personas, we craft narratives and content based on that. And the content could be in many forms. Could be written, could be visual, and could be audible, because we have podcasts and etc. And these different multi-channels of creativity will be amplified across these partnerships that we have globally. And that's putting not only the kingdom on the map, but putting all affiliates of the kingdom on the map, be it SRMG as a partner, or esports, or the tourism boards, or any other entity across the kingdom.
100%. Marwa, we have also discussed previously the different partnerships as far as doing to actually bring that into
actually,
life. So,
like I mentioned before, as far as DNA is all about partnerships and collaborations. We are a company built on partnerships. We cannot do anything without partnering with the private sector first, co-investing together to transform promising cities to beautiful destinations. So that is our business approach. So you can imagine how our communication approach also kind of aligns with that, in the sense of we remain agile. Yeah. We believe that innovative collaborations and cross-industry collaborations and partnerships are a must to drive tourism growth. An example of that is our sponsorship with of Al Hilal Football Club. We are, through that sponsorship, we are contributing to positioning Saudi Arabia as a premier sports tourism destination. And I can give a few examples as well from from an industry-wide perspective. An example that comes to mind is, for example, the Al-Ula, Dar Al-Ula band, when they collaborated with Alicia Keys a few years back, and they turned all heads towards Saudi. We can see another example as well also in Al-Ula, where they've done a campaign called I Care, where they mixed beautifully sustainability, environmental sustainability, art, and heritage. So that's fantastic, and I see these industries coming together to promote, and as you mentioned, Rida, join voices and forces to say the same thing, to reach the same objective. And as a company, I work very closely with the Ministry of Tourism and STA as well to echo the same message. Saudi Arabia is ready, the future is here, and we are ready to welcome both investors and tourists with open arms.
Yeah, thank you. So Yusuf, what's your take on that, since we are also talking about the same entities all under the same umbrella of Vision 2030? How do you feel these cross-partnerships play that role?
Absolutely, I second everything that the team has already mentioned, and there is a very important element or aspect that a lot of people might oversee, which is basically the definition of tourism itself. There is a huge misperception that tourism is leisure, or a lot of people associate tourism with leisure. If you think about it, and even if you go back to the UN Tourism's definition on tourism, you'll find that there are at least 10 different verticals that define what tourism is, and that is basically MICE. What we're doing right now, these events is part of tourism, health and wellness is tourism, leisure, of course, is tourism, sports, all of these different elements. So these are all different purpose of travels. For us in the government sector, these different sectors might fall fall under different regulators, or have different or need to follow certain bylaws. However, the integration and the partnerships between
the different entities,
the different entities, be it government or private sector, is crucial and key to achieve those common goals.
Exactly. Thank you. Eli, I'll close off with you very briefly on your intake on that from an esports perspective as well.
I think what the Ministry of Tourism has done this summer is for the first time, at least in my experience as someone from the industry, is that they've created this tourism visa if you had purchased tickets for the Esports World Cup. And I think that opened doors to a lot of nationalities from the entire region to come to Saudi and to be welcome to be part of this event. And it was something of an amazing initiative. And I think as an extra step that could happen is the traveler's journey leading up to coming to such an event, which could be more engaging with the airlines, having an entire gamification of the travel from wherever you are in the world, coming into Saudi, for example, with Saudi Airlines, and then and maybe also having some sort of gaming takeover of hotels. I've seen this firsthand in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, where all these brands and sponsors are taking over their hotels, at least the lobby, and and putting their own touch. So I think that could be something that could be very, very engaging and could have a lot of
resonation
viral
as well
content.
to the audience as well.
Yes, and it's very authentic, and I think Saudi's been doing that very well. So I look forward to these discussions in the future, I hope. Yeah.
So thank you so much for our panelists. If there is one thing common that we have learned today is the power of digital storytelling and driving growth and changing these perceptions that Saudi Arabia has been working towards. Thank you so much for your insightful feedback, and thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
What a wonderful panel. It's almost like they found the essence of Saudi Arabia and they put it together into 20 minutes of conversation. It's excellent. You get the digital storytelling part of it, you get heritage, you get culture, all of that put into quality over quantity. I love what Mr. Yusuf Laban said about data-driven storytelling. Let's move on to the most look forward to highly anticipated panel of the day also is we've got the moderator, Mr. Adil Baraja, CEO of Publicis Communications. Can I have you on stage? And joining him on stage will be Mohammed Abba Al-Khail, the Chief Marketing Officer of STC, Saudi Telecom Company. This is going to be an interesting discussion, a multi-layered conversation on the evolving roles of CMOs in the digital age.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. محمد أبا الخيل غني عن التعريف, needs no introduction. STC also needs no introduction. We've been going now for a while. We've known each other for a while, colleagues, almost monthly meetings at our friends Mundir place, marketing gatherings. One of the pillars of the marketing community in Saudi Arabia. It's a pleasure to have you with us today, a truly an honor to have you with us today. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate being here. It is great to see such crowd at such time of a day, and interestingly, so much print on the tables at such times as well. So, it brings a lot of questions. Is it digital era? Is it print? Do we still have print? Do we use print? Do we not? But I think it's an exciting moment to at least think of that.
All right, so we are supposed to be preparing a line of questioning or talking points, but we thought let's have a conversation instead. And we insisted actually, let's make this a conversational 20-minute session rather than an interview or a one-sided questionnaire. And I remember when I mentioned that it will be the both of us on stage, Muhammad said, let's tango. That's one way of putting it. Let's go ahead and start with something I wouldn't say an easy question, but definitely will take us a little deeper. You started at STC in 2018. We are in 2024, that's over half a decade now. Maybe putting it this way makes it's 5 years, but probably feels like 25 years with COVID being in the middle, so many consumer behavior changes during this time. How do you think your day-to-day has changed as a CMO from 2018 to today? How do you see your role as the head of communication and marketing teams at STC is different today?
Thank you, Adil, for the intro and the question. And I think maybe all of us, perhaps in this room, need to ask ourselves this question. Is time passing by very fast? Or is it we are fortunate being in Saudi Arabia at such time? And I say this because a lot of things are happening. They're happening so fast, so quick, that sometimes we don't keep track of what's going. Agility is becoming a main theme of what we do and how we do it. Resilience is becoming a trait that if you don't have or keep or maintain, you will lose track. Now, having all of these elements together, the growth of talent in our fields and the young boys and girls that are coming into the fields is allowing us to be so proud, and honestly, they refresh. They are having so much great opportunity today, but they are giving us the chance also to engage more and more in them. I am not a very big fan of, Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y. I'm a big fan of communities and how communities interact together, because at the end of the day, communities, in my view, they complement each other. And we see that especially in a place like STC, where we take some of the burden on educating or trying to reduce digital illiteracy by having physical campaigns and engagements with elder people. How do they use their My STC apps, their Abshir apps? How do they use Nafad? How do they maintain their security passwords to themselves and not share it with everybody or anybody? So really it's a community that we all are part of. And when I say that, because with the digital advancement that is going on, Adil, I think it is very essential to put in mind that we've always had this discussion, is it ittisal or tawasul? And I always been a fan of tawasul because it's a two-way engagement. But honestly, with the digital advancement that is taking place, I feel marketing and communication will be a dialogue. You would go into the net with AI, it will respond back, it will tell you what do you want, you would say that, you would have recommendations, and then you will make a choice. So it's more of a consultative approach to how do we communicate, as opposed to, just put an ad, throw it out, see the engagement rate, try then to interact again, build on it, and so on. Therefore, I believe it is a time, honestly, and we saw this in COVID, and this is an interesting thing that showed also the resilience of Saudi Arabia. Literally, between a day and night, everything transformed from education to health, to communication, to digital. Now, were we ready for it? Alhamdulillah, we were. Did we adapt? Yes. But imagine developing an app, which we are very proud that we were part of, Tawakkalna, in less than 2 weeks. Furthering developing that app, it was the mean of communication. And then imagine when everybody in Saudi Arabia decided at 8 p.m. on that day to say the national anthem. And from their balconies, from their windows, and so on. How did they communicate doing that? And I feel, honestly, it we leapfrogged into the future, and instead of thinking what is good to have, we are thinking today what is important to have, or a must to have. And I think this will roll out on how partners, whether it's agencies, consultants, also adapt to what's going on and what is happening based on the requirements of their clients.
I would agree on a couple of points there with the COVID transformation. I was also in the government sector then at customs, and at customs you would control what goes in the country, what goes out, and how can you do that online at home? You cannot do that online at home. So you can imagine the transformation we had to go through to make sure that everyone is on board with everything that's happening. And of course, with Tawakkalna, Tawakkalna was our passport, was our livelihood of reaching out. The first time I've ever had a doctor appointment online, again through Sahhati and through the same period. So I definitely agree on that kind of transformation that we had to go through and how it helped us leap into the future. I'm seeing a lot of people on their phones, and I will change maybe gears here a little bit to make sure that everyone is engaged. The next question will be on the agencies side. So who from the audience is from an agency? Raise your hand. An agency-ish, yeah, magazine or supplier side. Okay, almost half of the audience raised their hand. So the question would be, as everything that is happening, all the changes that are happening in the market, again, the behavior change, again, the consumer habits, your role as a CMO is changing and adapting. How do you see the agencies' attributes that are needed to support your current role? How do you see, do you see first of all, do you see the agencies adapting to your needs? Not yet. Do you wish they are adapting faster? And what would be your ask from the agencies today?
Well, first of all, maybe an ask for everybody that we stop calling agencies agencies. For one simple reason. I think honestly, any entity providing a service is an extension to the organization's team. And that type of extension would require full transparency, full engagement, challenging ideas, challenging thoughts, bringing things to the table that don't have to be cascaded up to down, but rather an interaction, a flow of engagements that takes place. And I think whenever we use the word agency, it gives you more or less of some limitations. That's from one side. And I would really love to classify what's going on. I remember when I started in this industry, it was all about how you are pushed to accept a certain idea and do it. And then the lack of local knowledge and local culture adaptation. So you would see campaigns that don't relate to our region or specifically Saudi Arabia. And then you had the rebels like Full Stop, 3 Points, who pushed themselves into the industry and made the mark. And then you have today the creative houses that are building, but they are building with no strategy up front. So they do a campaign, they execute the campaign, and then they come after you for another campaign that is not continuous with the first campaign. So one of the biggest issues today is consistency. How do we build on our ideas, thoughts, and campaigns, assuring a 360 approach, but everything is related to each other, more or less, honestly, very close to a Marvel universe, if I may say. And whenever you see a Marvel story, it is linked more or less somewhere or another to something else. That is why always, people stick around to the end of the movie. They want to know what could be the link to my other episode I want to see. Two, there is so much today integration that is taking place without us knowing it and feeling it. We will see soon, I believe, big integration with branding houses versus creative houses, and perhaps media houses. And this type of integration requires two things. One, making sure that you have the right talent under one umbrella, and two, you have the proper organizations that would allow not hiring a brand specialist or a media specialist or a communication specialist or a marketeer, but hiring a talent that could be adaptive to these things, because he or she will be able to run a full campaign A to Z knowing that. And I say this very close to what used to happen almost 140 years ago, when there was an architect who was the master builder, were no subspecialties, civil engineers, electrical engineers, and so on. I think in our field specifically, we are going to the master marketeer or master marcom that would understand these things. And therefore, I believe consultants or service providers need to adapt quickly to that. And a full campaign could be, from what we see today as a marketing agency, could be a pure PR campaign approach, as opposed to this is what we want to have as an outdoor, this is our digital presence and appearance and look and feel, and this is our TVC. This will fade out. This will run away. This will not continue happening. And I say this with full confidence. The only question I don't have an answer for is when. But this is, how fast this will happen? Is it 2, 3, 4 years? Let's imagine, and we spoke about tourism, how in the world will we communicate Expo 2030 for 1 billion expected visitors that will visit the Expo virtually? We don't have the technology yet, but we will soon have it. And I remember seeing a clip for Steve Jobs saying, we will have a computer in a shoebox, then we will have a computer in a box. It took 25 years for that to happen. So I know we're going that way. I'm not sure how fast we need to accelerate, but we are definitely going that way.
I'm conscious of the time. I had a few ideas that I wanted to ask, but maybe let's focus on some of the topics that were discussed today in previous panels. Tourism, AI. STC is what now? 13 different companies, subsidiaries, different business lines. STC Bank. It's not anymore a telco company. It's not anymore a tech co even. It's further than that. How do you see your role is morphing into when it comes to managing such a large portfolio of companies? What emerging trends would you imagine will be in support of your role? And how do you adapt to that?
I think I am fortunate, alhamdulillah, by being at this specific time at a digital company. And luckily, my job before that was in pure retail. And the way I saw footprints or brick and mortar of stores shrinking to smaller shops, because the experience of malls then was evolving into an entertainment hub as opposed to a pure retail hub. And when I say that, you would go in a summery day in Riyadh, you would walk in a mall for, finish 7,000 steps or 8,000 steps, decide to have an orange juice, maybe get a bite to eat, and then your wife or daughter tells you something, you walk into a store, you see it, or you try on a shoe, and then you go online and you buy it. So literally you go into a mall with sneakers, come out with no shopping bags, but you bought something. And then I come to STC, where everything is evolving around digital, and thinking of, how is behavior changing? And then boom, 2020, you have COVID, and then it's a fact. We are going digital. We establish a digital bank. I can't remember when was the last time I had cash in my pocket. And things are becoming more of two parallel universes, whereby you have your digital bubble that you are interacting with a lot of people and so on, but you're not isolated from your social life. So I think that balance is where it's taking us. And then you try a Vision Pro, for example, from Apple, and you ask yourself, how in the world am I moving stuff on a screen that is only in my face, giving orders and command and enjoying more or less a real life, integrated, immersive technology? And it gives you, honestly, a big question mark. How will I watch football games? And this is a good question for 2034. What will our role be? How will our advertisement happen? If soon enough, if a Coca-Cola advertisement come during a match, what sensation could I have? And then you have these emerging technologies with each other, the creative mindset of marketeers and how we communicate things with the technology that is taking place and happening. A question I heard earlier was, who knows augmented reality? I was first introduced to augmented reality in 2011. Imagine it took 10 years for Snapchat to start leading on augmented reality. Why? Because the technology wasn't ready, and because Snapchat positions themselves as a camera app. Technology takes time, but it arrives. And sometimes it arrives before we expect. We need to be ready for it. We need to make sure that we are agile enough to adapt, and more importantly, resilience to overcome any hiccups or hurdles.
That when the example of AR made me realize one thing, that in 2018, and with Publicis, we invested in our first AI company to develop our own AI capabilities. And we've only actually been using AI as a community, as users, since maybe a couple of years since OpenAI been launched and introduced and became that widely public. So the technology can be there, but maybe we are not yet ready to use it until it's at the fingertips of everyone, and it's more...
Adil, I think adaptability is key, and I was very fond and fortunate to attend the AI Summit. Took place nearly a month ago. Imagine the last day of the summit, until 6:30 p.m., the venue was crowded. And I think it was because the launch of ChatGPT early this year, and people interacting with it, and they want to know what's going on. But also, when we come to AI, what would make Accenture venture into buying Drago5, for example, release something catered exactly toward marketing? KPMG is also talking about marketing and working on it. It's because I believe the cohesiveness that will take place in our field, that is why we need to make sure we build the right talent, that they have the right soft skills that will allow them to adapt and build knowledge and lead campaigns, if I may say, or lead experiences rather than campaigns.
Now, with that, Muhammad, I want to thank you again for being our guest here today, taking a chunk of your day to join us. Again, it was a pleasure. Thank you for the audience for their attention and attendance. ويعطيكم العافية جميعا. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adil. Thank you, Mohammed Al-Khail, for that beautiful panel. So many takebacks from that. We are going to start with the giveaway of the Apple Watch now. Can I please call our partner from VAMP, Carl Mapstone, onto the stage? And as he's coming up, we're going to play a quick video of VAMP.
Thank you, everyone. The winner of the Apple Watch is Abdallah Bo Qasim.
Congratulations, Abdullah. That's the first Apple Watch being given away. Next up, we have the PS5 winner to be announced, and to announce that winner, we're going to welcome Mridula from Pixis.
Hello, everybody. Today's winner for Pixis PS5 is Dareen El-Kasi from Mindshare. Okay.
Congratulations, Dareen, for not just joining me on the panel, but for winning the PS5 today. A big round of applause to Dareen. What a wonderful day, and what a wonderful way to end that. Thank you all for attending here today. Just a reminder that we're having lunch as well. It's just outside in the foyer. So thank you for feasting on some good content. Now it's time to feast on some good food. Thank you, everybody.